Hi there. My name is FixFox, and this is Heroes of Might and Magic 2. Thank you for being here. I assume that if you're clicking on this video, it's because you already know a little bit about Heroes of Might and Magic, the series as a whole. When you think of Heroes of Might and Magic, you probably think about Heroes of Might and Magic 3, which many, myself included, believe to be the best game out of the series. But if I'm being honest with myself, I have just as many good memories playing the predecessor, Heroes of Might and Magic 2, as I do the definitive version in the series, Heroes 3. In my opinion, Heroes 2 walked so that Heroes 3 could run. In 1995, Heroes of Might and Magic 1 was released, and if you play it to this day, there's not a lot of nuance to the game. There's a lot of opportunities that were missed at that point. Overall, it's still a working game, it's fine, and it really lays the foundations for the game. Heroes 2 then takes a lot of those concepts and makes them even better. A game about heroes of might and magic, how about we make those heroes compelling in and of themselves? How about we make endless replayability because the heroes can be different from game to game? And there's a lot of things that have been changed and grown from 1 to 2. And then, of course, polished and absolutely perfected from Heroes 2 to Heroes 3. With that being said, why play a game from 1996? Good question. Recently, there's been a group of individuals who have taken the initiative to lovingly rebuild the game from the ground up. I think that they just took the source code and redid the whole engine, and they've been making major and minor improvements alike to Heroes of Might and Magic 2 to bring it more in accordance with what you'd expect from a game in today's era. But they also did a good job in not demolishing the spirit of what was there. This feels like Heroes of Might and Magic 2. I can tell you I've played about 30 minutes so far, and I'm excited to dive into it even more to see what changes have been made and just where the game is at to this day. I believe that we have balance changes. I believe that we have included new features, and I'm really excited to explore this a lot with you. So let's do a long play, and let's go through the campaigns one by one by one. So we're going to start here. We're going to hit New Game. We're going to go Campaign, and we're going to start with the original campaign moving forward. Are you excited? I'm excited.
The troubles all began 3 years ago with the passing of the old king, Lord Ironfist. The king left 2 sons. Roland was good, kindly, and honorable, while Archibald was not so good. Traditionally, the choice of the heir falls to the royal seer, but he died in a tragic boating accident. His successor's luck was no better, with Frederick falling out of a window, Robert slain by a dragon, and Johann dying of food poisoning. Archibald accused Roland of murdering the seers, and issued a proclamation against Roland. Fearing for his life, Roland fled the place for his castle in the west. With Roland gone, Archibald was able to influence the new royal seer's decision. The seer chose Archibald, and Archibald crowned himself king the next day. And so the war for succession began. Choose your lord.
Okay, here we go. I love that it gives you the opportunity. Do you want to play the Archibald campaign first or the Roland campaign? As you can tell by the preamble here, they're painting Roland on the right to be the good guy. He's blue, he's got a neatly trimmed mustache, and then Archibald on the left is the bad guy. It's up to you to decide. Is he the good guy, the bad guy? Canonically, I think we all know who is the good guy here, but I'll tell you right now that we're going to start off actually with the Roland campaign. I think that it's the harder of the two if memory serves, and we might as well dive right into it and see where we're at. So,
My faithful vassal, I greet your pledge of loyalty with gratitude and relief. As you know, my wicked brother Archibald has seized my father's castle and usurped the throne. Only the lords nearest the castle have been quick to swear allegiance to him, but I fear even distant lords may take the oath in the absence of a viable alternative. I am determined to provide that alternative, even if it means making war on vassals formerly loyal to my father. Therefore, it is with a heavy heart that I must order you to compel the loyalty of the barons nearest my summer palace by force of arms. Since we cannot afford to fail, I have provided you with a sum of gold sufficient to the task. I have also provided you with a magical amulet to help coordinate our war efforts. Wear it always, and we will be in constant communication.
Okay, so we are the commander of the armies, we are the vassal, and our objective in this campaign is to return return Roland back to the throne. The scenario amble here says, Roland needs you to defeat the lords near his castle to begin his war of rebellion against his brother. They are not allied with each other, so they will spend most of their time fighting with one another. Victory is yours when you have defeated all of their castles and heroes. So we get the opportunity here to choose a bonus. We can have 2,000 gold. We can have a Thunder Mace, which looks like it's an artifact that will start with us in the scenario and increase our attack by 1. Or we can have Gauntlets, in which case we're going to have increased defense skill by 1 via that artifact. I'm going to choose the gold. I figure that, the Thunder Mace, the Gauntlets, the +1 is going to be valuable in the long run, sure, but up front, you never know when you're going to need 2,000 gold. In the immortal words of Homer Simpson's, "Oh, I wanted a peanut." Well, you found 20 bucks. That can buy mini peanuts. Explain how. Money can be exchanged for goods and services. So let's take the 2,000 gold, and so if we need more troops, we can just have more troops. I'm going to click on difficulty here. I'm going to make sure it's on hard. I'm not scared. I'm terrified. And let's just get started. There are 3 enemy castles to the north. Capture them in the name of Roland, the true king. Okay. So I'm going to try and not explain everything into the ground. I assume that if you're here, it's because you've played Heroes of Might and Magic to some degree, but all the same, just in case there's some newer people to this type of game, I'd like to just help them out a little bit as well. So we have here the main adventuring map. This is where you're going to have heroes that will wander the map and run into neutral creatures. They will pick up resources. They will flag mines or dwellings. Essentially, you use this adventure map to try and leverage the world against your opponents. You try to win the military fight logistically first, and so a large part of that is navigating the map to make that happen. Because the game is Heroes of Might and Magic, generally you start off with a hero and 1 castle. I have Sarakin the Wizard. The name in the portrait doesn't particularly matter from game to game, although I'll tell you right now, you do get attached to certain heroes. You see them pop up in the shop and you're available to buy them. You buy them just because you love that guy or gal, whatever. But in our castle here, where our hero currently resides, look how beautiful this is, first of all. Hand-drawn sprites. They hold up to this day. I don't want to hear what anybody else has to say about it. We are able to use these castles to build up an army and go forth in adventure. When we click on our big castle here in the upper left, it gives us the opportunity to see all the buildings that we've currently bought with a yellow check mark and all the buildings that we can build still in green. The way that the game is fixed up is that you have turns. It's a turn-based game, and lots of things will renew or refill after we click end turn. For example, here in the castle, we have 1 building that we can purchase per day. We have a lot of different choices of types of buildings we can purchase. These first 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, are creature dwellings or habitats, and from them we can then recruit units that are associated with the dwelling that we have purchased or are in that castle. Currently we have a habitat and a pen. So in the pen, I can recruit my boars. They are a very fast unit. They take up 2 tiles. They don't take hits very well. Mostly their job is to either block for your shooters or to get across the battlefield as quickly as possible. We also have the habitat, in which you have the halflings. They're a level 1 unit, and they're very cheap to build, but they're also a shooter, so they're generally valuable throughout the game. We have no other dwellings at this time, but because I can still build one building in this castle this turn, I'm going to try and get some more units. I have a choice between a foundry, which can produce some iron golems, or a cliff nest where I can get some rocks. I'm going to get the cliff nest. The rocks are an excellent unit. They're flyers. They can get across the map in one go. They do pack a little bit of a punch, and then if I come across some shooters in the adventuring world, I can usually use the rocks to shut them down. They are, note, a lot more expensive than the halflings, of course. At 400 gold, basically they're 10 times the cost, but they are worth every penny. So I'm going to purchase my units. One nice thing about the FHeroes edition is that you click on this and it immediately assumes you want to buy every creature in the habitat or in the dwelling, and they would be right. So I've clicked all my units here. I'm going to click on them once to highlight the portrait, and then click where I'd like for that unit to move. I can move them anywhere within the empty chess pieces, but for now I want all my units into my hero. Note that if I come back here, I can't buy another building this turn, so we're going to just kind of move on, go back to this adventuring screen, and as you notice, there's green arrows that pop up, and that indicates that my hero is looking forward to moving this way. I can choose if we go left, I can choose if we go right. In the portrait section over here on the right hand side, the left bar of the hero's face is the movement points for that day. As I move, that bar will go down. Heroes only have so many movement points a day to spend, and by spending those movement points, you then explore your world and wage war on your enemies. Now, as we clicked here in the castle, while I cannot build another building, I can recruit a new hero. I have two options here. I have Mirini the wizard. She's got 6 halflings and comes with 4 boars. And then there is another hero. This is Myra the wizard, who has 10 halflings and 3 boars. They're fairly comparable in all other aspects, in which I'll talk about later. 6 and 4, 10 and 3. I think that an extra 4 halflings minus 1 boar is worth it. So I'm going to recruit Myra the wizard. And since that hero went right, this hero's going to go left and start picking up some items. I just picked up some gold, and I just picked up a small patch of ore. In the bottom right in the FHeroes edition, it'll tell you what exactly the amount that we picked up when we interact with most objects on the adventure map. So both my heroes have spent all their turns. I've built in my 1 castle, and now it's time for me to end this turn so that a lot of my things can replenish. So I'm going to hit this little hourglass here, and we go from month 1, week 1, day 1 into month 1, week 1, day 2. Let's find this treasure chest. A treasure chest. After scouring the area, you fall upon a hidden treasure cache. You may take the gold or distribute the gold to the peasants for experience. Do you wish to keep the gold? So I can choose between 1,000 gold into my coffers or 500 experience points. In this instance, I'm going to take the gold. I don't think the 500 experience is all that good. Generally, I take experience more often early, but the ratio just feels off to me. Usually it feels like 1,000 gold feels better than just 500 experience points. Right here, we have the first mine that we can mark. This here is a sawmill. I'll step onto it, and it indicates that I've gained control of the sawmill, which will provide me with 2 units of wood per day, which is wonderful. My blue flag is now flying high on the sawmill. If I click on the little kingdom icon over here in my right-hand side, up will pop a kind of overview of my heroes and my income and things like that. And prior to this, this would have had a 0 there, but because I just captured the 1 sawmill, it's keeping track of what I have coming in. If I right-click here, it'll pop up and say my kingdom income per day right now is 2 units of wood and 1,000 gold per day. I do have a sawmill. I don't have an alchemist lab. I don't have an ore mine. I don't have a sulfur mine. I do not have a crystal mine, a gem mine, or a gold mine. we will eventually find pretty much all of these resources, and all these resources can be useful in some degree. Some will be valuable more to different factions. For example, for wizards, the faction that I am, they tend to use gems a lot more than other factions, just because their upper tier creatures will rely on gems to purchase them, and things of that nature. But anytime you can flag a mine, it's a good idea. Okay, I see an ore mine over here. That'll be valuable to get. Let's start heading that way. And we see for the first time a neutral creature on the map. The neutral creature is lots of skeletons. They are guarding the mine. In order to get to the mine, to flag it, and to bring 2 extra ore income per day, I'm going to have to defeat lots of skeletons. They are a tier 1 necromancy unit. That shouldn't be too hard of a fight. I don't think that I should let that deter me from my goals of expansion and resource gathering. So because that hero is out of movement points, as you can note by seeing that the dots on the map, the arrows have now turned red, indicating that I'm out of movement points. I'll go back to my other hero. She's going to do a little bit of exploring. There's a treasure chest here. And so now I have the opportunity. Do I want 2,000 gold or 1,500 experience? It changes from treasure chest to treasure chest. This is the best example of a time where you got a little bit of a hard decision. Which hero do I want to have as my primary hero, and which hero do I want to have kind of be my gopher? I know that a lot of people tend to have or try to have multiple heroes that are fairly strong, just so that way they can not have an enemy just beat them without any resistance. But I tend to go for lots of heroes that suck and one hero that's really strong and can fight anything. With that being said, it doesn't matter to me this early which hero is my main hero. I might as well take the experience here and make Myra now my main hero. Even though she doesn't have the units, I can transfer them to her later. So I'll click no, I'll take the experience, and she has leveled up. She's got +1 knowledge, and now I have the opportunity to learn a skill. This is wonderful as an addition to Heroes of Might and Magic 1. You didn't have any kind of skills that you could learn as your hero leveled up and became better, but now you do. And so we have the opportunity to learn either ballistics or mysticism. My thought process here is mysticism will regenerate 1 additional spell point per day to my hero, whereas ballistics will give my catapult, when I'm attacking an enemy's town, a greater chance to hit and do damage to castle walls. 1 mana per day is not that big of a deal. I don't think that even if I max that skill out, that the 4 spell points are going to be particularly valuable. However, ballistics, a combat skill, is always useful. I'm going to take that in preparation for a long fight later. I'm going to keep on exploring. Ooh, that's a good artifact, I believe. Golden Bow is guarded by lots of orc chiefs. They're a 2nd tier unit for the barbarian faction. They're upgraded. And then back in my castle, I purchased a habitat or creature dwelling on turn 1, and now I'm going to take a look at some of the other buildings that I can purchase. Things like a mage guild, they give me the opportunity to learn spells for my heroes. A tavern is going to do something like help my defenders if they're under attack by increasing their morale. A thieves guild will give me information. The more thieves guilds I have in more towns, the more information I can get about the enemy. If I was near water, I could build a shipyard. I cannot build a shipyard here because my castle is too far away from the water. I have a marketplace where I can convert one type of resource into another. One nice thing about Heroes of Might and Magic 2 is that you're never going to be completely deadlocked. You're never going to say, I can't find a crystal mine and so I have to restart the game. You're always going to be able to generate some amount of gold, and so then you can always, at worst, trade a little bit of gold for resources and you can get what you need eventually. It'll be very inefficient. You're not going to like the exchange rate, but it can work. Then we have a well, which will increase the growth rate of all my dwellings by 2 creatures per week. That can be particularly valuable, especially as you get upper level units that you usually get a lower base growth for. An orchard will increase the production of my halflings by 8 per week. Every faction has a faction-specific building. The wizards have a library. which will give me 1 additional spell per level of the mage guild that's built in that town. If I build this, I will have 1 additional level 1 spell when I build my mage guild. Once I upgrade my mage guild to level 2, I'll have an extra additional level 2 spell, and so on and so forth, all the way up to level 5. And it'll also be a prerequisite for the Ivory Tower that I'm going to need to get the upgraded Ivory Tower for the Archmagi. So it will be a pretty important building later. And then every castle and every faction also has 3 options to assist you in defense. A moat that'll slow down attacking units, a right turret that'll provide additional firepower, and a left turret that'll also create some extra shots for you. Every town that is attacked that has a castle will also have some base defenses. I think it's equivalent to like 12 archers at a +3. So if I have just a few defensive units, they'll also be supported by the castle's defenses. That'll do some firing to help slow down the enemy. So, and the last building would be a captain's quarters. In the event that there's no hero present, the captain has a few stats and has the opportunity to cast some spells. And that can be useful in a pinch. For 500 gold, it's better to have something rather than nothing. The only other building that pretty much every faction shares is a statue. That increases your town's income by 250 gold per day. That's going to pay for itself in about, 5 turns, minus the ore. The statue is not a bad way to go, and you might as well get it and get it early because you're going to want it at some point. Might as well take it now. As you can see, the building's popped up there. I've built my building. I'm out of spell points, and I'm out of movement points. And so we're going to go from month 1, week 1, day 2 to day 3. I am going to attack these skeletons. One thing real quick is I'm going to show you what combat looks like here. When I move into range, either right next to or right on top of some neutral units or an enemy hero, this battle screen is the second screen that's going to pop up. And it's going to have the opportunity where my hero is present on my side. He does not interact in the actual battle unless that hero casts a spell. Otherwise, I have my stacks of units that will do battle for me, and I'm just calling the shots and how this works. If we click on my halflings, for example, we see a couple of interesting things. On the right-hand side, we have the stats for these halflings. Halflings have an attack skill of 2, they have a defense skill of 1, and for some reason I have a modifier. I must have got a little bit of extra defense from my hero right now. Because they're shooters, they have a limited number of shots. Halflings start out with 12 per combat. They can do damage between 1 and 3. They have 3 hit points. This stack has 3 hit points left because they haven't been attacked yet and they haven't taken any damage. They're very slow. They can go only 3 hexes on the board, and they have good morale and they have normal luck. So we have, on the left-hand side, a number indicating that we have 16 halflings. The general way that combat works is that you have stacks of units that then essentially multiply the statistics on the right-hand side when interacting with enemies. These 14 skeletons here will multiply their 14 stack in this group by the 2 to 3 damage amplifier. They'll factor in things like their defense skill when they're defending from an attack, and so on and so forth. And in that way, you're able to do damage. And by building bigger armies, you're able to create more opportunities for yourself in the battlefield. For now, I'm just going to fight this battle pretty safely. Early game and late game, it's always a good idea to try and win the war of attrition, to not lose units as much as possible. So in the bottom right, I have a skip. This will just, as you can tell, this is a turn-based combat. By skipping, the boars are not going to get another turn this round. I'm going to let the rocks get into the fight, and they destroyed the rest of that stack of skeletons. By clicking on the skeletons, I just did 18 damage and 4 skeletons perished. I'm going to move forward and engage with the boars now. And unfortunately, I'm terrible at the game, and I lost 13 halflings. Wonderful. We're going to recover, but I'm very sad and very embarrassed, actually. Yeah, that was pretty bad. So, you get, after every combat, experience points that are more or less equal to the amount of hit points that you destroyed on the enemy side. So apparently 3 stacks of, call it 14 skeletons, will equal up to about 160 hit points worth of experience. The skeletons have disappeared from the map, and I'm going to take that in mind. And it only cost me like 14 halflings. Great. Alrighty. We have a new unit that we can see here, lots of rangers. They're a ranged unit. I don't plan on fighting them anytime soon, but I suppose I could, depending on what they're guarding. Generally, some battles, it's better to let valor and discretion intermingle. Pick your fights and try and make sure that you can be wise with the units that you have. As much as possible, week 1, I don't really want to fight because I'll get more units once a week. Notice that earlier I had said that by ending my turn, I'll get new movement points. I'll get the opportunity to build a new building in my castle. As I'm going to do here, I'm going to create my well so I can get +2 creatures. But, as you notice, I still have 0 rocks, 0 halflings, and 0 boars to recruit. That's because once every 7 turns, or once a week, I get the opportunity. Every castle will refill, every habitat, every dwelling, and right now it's a growth of 10 halflings per week. Right now it's a growth of 8 boars per week, 5 rocks per week, and we'll find out what the other ones are later for my other units. So if I wait just 1 week, then I'm for sure going to be walking into fights with a much stronger army, and I'll be better off because of it. Here's another sulfur mine, a different type of precious resource. I am not going to be able to fight a couple of halflings with just 10 halflings and 3 boars, so we're going to bow out gracefully and walk away. And we'll call that the end of that turn. Continue to explore. Yeah, these archers are just guarding the standing stones. That's not worth anything. It's worth +1 spell power. Right now, it's just not worth the fight. It's not worth the losses I might get. It looks like I can just walk right by these pikemen. Pikemen are fairly tough. I don't want to fight them, but I do want to just pick up this freebie, because I might as well. I'll take the gold there instead of the experience. I feel like there's something in this corner, but I don't know what it is, and I'm going to try to be efficient with my time and space. A pack of dwarves, lots of skeletons. Note that each stack of units on the adventure map, it doesn't tell you exactly how many there are. It just says lots of halflings. It says lots of orc chieftains, a pack of dwarves. I forget what the exact ratios are, but you start to get a feel. I can tell you subconsciously in my very dreams some of the differences between these stacks. I know a pack is less than lots. What the exact number is, I couldn't tell you, but the ratio is set. It's not going to, a few is never going to be more than 4, for example. Let's see. Because I know I'm going to get more units next week, I'm going to try and get as many of my dwellings as possible in the first week. The Ivory Tower is going to produce a great unit, but it's going to need a Mage Guild level 1 and a Foundry. I don't really want to get the Foundry, only because the units are not particularly good, but because it's a prerequisite building, I'm for sure going to get it. If I check the Iron Golems, the reason I don't want to get the Iron Golems is not because of their attack skill, it's not because of their defense, it's not because of their damage or their hit points. They're a fairly good unit at taking damage. The problem is their speed. They're very slow. They can move 2 hexes. On the battlefield, that's fairly useless. It's very difficult to get them into a fight. It's very difficult for them to protect or defend a more strategic unit. They're kind of bad. They're kind of bad. And what's worse is that your hero will regenerate their movement points at the end of each turn, and that number will be impacted by the slowest creature in your army. It's the idea of, yeah, I've got 1,000 dragons who can fly all over the place really, really quickly, but we can only go as fast as the slowest unit in our army. So generally, I'm going to keep Iron Golems at home as defenders, so that way I've got someone at home in my castle, but I don't have to take them on the road where they're going to slow me down. Sorry guys, that's just the way it is. One thing that is of note is that some, but not all units, have the opportunity to have an upgrade, and the iron golems are actually one of them. The iron golems are pretty slow, pretty bad, but if I upgrade the foundry, I'll go from iron golems to steel golems. It'll cost additional resources to upgrade the units, or to buy them is just going to be a little bit more expensive, but they are going to get some meaningful buffs to their statistics, particularly their speed. They'll be more valuable, but still, I've got other units that I'm really looking forward to. However, we did get the foundry because it's a prerequisite for another building. It makes sense. At this point, as you can see, I can still purchase another hero. I've got plenty of gold. The only reason I'm not is because I don't think that I'm going to be needing a third hero to cover all my extra space. As you note, I'm going to have to beat some halflings to go further this way. I'm going to have to beat some dwarves to go further up that little bit. And I don't know how much of the adventure map I'm really going to need to cover ground-wise. And so I think that right now I'm going to try to get away with just 2 heroes because it costs 2,500 gold to get a third hero. Some people would say it's totally worth it. I'm going to try and be a little conservative here. Okay, so I have a horde of skeletons. That's way more than lots. A horde of skeletons is guarding the alchemist lab. We're going to avoid that fight for now. There's another treasure chest. Wow. I guess we're just going to take the gold. This hero is still level 1, even though my other hero is level 2. Because this hero has gotten more treasure chests, even though this hero has fought more fights. Kind of interesting the way that works. A fountain is going to increase your luck. There's 2 statistics that are not particularly self-explanatory. Attack skill, defense skill, those affect attack and defense, of course. Damage, pretty self-explanatory. Morale and luck are the 2 bottom stats there. Morale, if you get good morale, is going to give your units the opportunity to take a second turn in combat. Good luck is going to give them an opportunity to do, it's either 1.5 or double the damage. I can't recall which one it is off the top of my head. Those stats can be very, very impactful, and they can be affected by things like doodads on the adventure map, like this fountain that will increase my luck, or by artifacts. You can also get bad luck, you can get bad morale, and those can have opposite effects where you can do reduced damage or you can lose a turn of combat. So we got to keep track of those statistics as well. I can keep track of them here in my section here. My army for this gentleman has good morale because I have all wizarding troops. All wizarding troops are going to have the same basic background of this kind of rocky cliff. And if I do recruit or pick up some units that are not of the wizarding faction, I am going to lose that +1 morale bonus. That's something to consider about when you're building armies is, okay, how's this going to affect my morale? I can have 5 different types of units. I can have a barbarian, a sorceress, a dungeon, a fairy, a sorceress, and a wizard unit, but they're not going to get along very nicely with each other. And then even though they're strong individual units, they may not work cohesively as a team. More skeletons. Wow, a lot of skeletons in this map. And I'm just trying to clear this fog of war. Once fog of war is cleared, as you can see, it remains cleared. I'm going to get the Mage Guild because I do want to get the last prerequisite building. Next turn I should be able to get this ivory tower. As you can see in the bottom right corner, we've got our resources laid out, what we have in the bank right now. And I can always check to see, yep, will I have enough next turn? Absolutely I will. I know what I'm going to buy next turn. And as I explore the map, I see goblins, which are a tier 1 barbarian unit. I see sprites, which are a tier 1 sorceress unit. I think I can beat... I'm so torn. I think I can... I think I better actually wait. I bet you I can beat the goblins, but I don't want to lose any units right now. After I lost those halflings in that first fight, I'm a little gun shy. Gems are important for wizards, so I'm going to need to come back and get that gem mine as quickly as I possibly can. But for now, I'm going to build my ivory tower. And next time my hero comes through, I'm going to be able to recruit Magi. I'll end that turn. Some doodads on the adventure map will replenish once a week. For example, right here I have a magic garden. It says it's not visited. When I click on it, I catch a leprechaun foolishly sleeping amidst a cluster of magic mushrooms. In exchange for his freedom, he guides you to a small pot filled with precious things. I just got 5 gems. Very great resource. If I revisit the mushroom, I don't have to walk off and then walk back on. I can just hit the space bar here. Actually, the space bar might make me walk off of it. Okay, good. It didn't. It says, I found a magic garden, the kind of place that leprechauns and fairies like to cavort in, but there is no one here today. Perhaps you should try again next week. You find that there will be doodads that you can visit once a week for a bonus, but after you've visited them once, or the enemy has visited them once, you have to wait a day or wait a week for them to replenish. Even though I just visited that on day 7, once day 1 of week 2 starts, he'll be back, and I'm going to steal his stuff again. You'd think that he would learn, but he won't. They never do. Okay, at this point, it is day 7, and I'm trying to think about what would be the best thing I can get before the week is up. I'm not going to be able to get my 6th level creatures. There's just no way I'm going to get there. I don't have enough gold. I'm not going to have enough gems. Another mage guild, I can get that anytime. It's not going to affect anything. Taverns, moats. The only thing that might be useful to get on day 7 before a new week, before units replenish, is the orchard. That'll increase my halfling production by 8. And so, of course, right now, my halfling production, as I can see in the well, is 10. After I buy the orchard, it's going to go up by 8 to 18. And I think that's worth it. And so now, the end of month 1, week 1, day 7 comes, and we get to day 1 of week 2. Astrologers proclaim it to be the week of the tortoise. All dwellings increase in population. I now have my 18 halflings, 8 boars, my 5 rocks, and my 6 magi. It is worth noting that units that you did not purchase from the prior week will roll over. So you're not forced to buy all units. It's not like a get them or lose them type of a deal. You can leave them in their dwellings and they'll just infinitely stack. Unless something wild and crazy happens, which hopefully doesn't happen this game. We may talk about it later. If it is a month of the plague and units might be halved, but it's a very rare occurrence. Forget I said anything. If it happens this game, I'm going to eat my hat. Okay. So, knowing I got units I can pick up, I'm actually going to try to head home. I'm going to pick up my magic garden again. Yesterday it was 5 gems. This week it's 500 gold. But I can't click on him again this turn. It's already been done. And we might as well head home here as well. Actually, you know what? We're gonna pull off something that's fairly common to Heroes of Might and Magic. We're gonna do a relay system. This hero is gonna go and pick up the units I need, and then going to deposit them in my main hero's army stack, so that way we can go adventuring twice as fast. I'm going to need a marketplace at some point, so I'll get that. I would get a level 2 mage guild, but because I'm going to do the relay system, it's not going to matter. When we click on the mage guild, which we purchased a few turns ago, we see what spells are in the mage guild. Note that there's only 3 of these scrolls that are open. That's because I don't have the library, which will be able to unlock an extra scroll here, an extra scroll here, 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 and here. As we increase the level of the Mage Guild, we go from level 1 spells to 2 to 3 to 4 and to 5. Of course, as you go up in Mage Guild ranks, the spells become more impactful, more powerful, but you cannot sleep on some spells. For example, Haste is a level 1 spell, but increasing the speed of any creature on the battlefield by 2 can be very impactful. Or having a shield that reduces ranged attacks on a single unit can absolutely save some critical units. You will have combat type spells, and you will also have adventure map spells like View Resources. View Resources will cause all resources across the land to become visible to whatever hero casts it. I'll show you what that looks like in just one second. Well, it'll be in 2 turns anyway. And because I'm here, I am going to buy... I'll buy the library. I'm going to need it at some point, so I'll buy it now. And note that I have a new spell in my Mage Guild. I've got Stone Skin here, so as I buy increased levels, I'll have that extra scroll unlocked for each level. And because my hero has now visited this town, they've now learned all the spells that are in this Mage Guild. Note that this hero has the spells in their spell book. But my other hero, who's out adventuring, is not met up with the Mage Guild, does not have those spells. The adventure spell that we talked about was the View Resources. It's going to cost a certain amount of spell points, as said in the brackets. And this hero currently has 20 spell points available. You can see the spell points in the right side of the portrait. It's the green bar on the right. Or you can click on the hero and you can note that spell points are listed here. It's a percentage out of a maximum number. Let me show you this spell first, and then I'll talk about some statistics with the heroes. So I have on this map that I can kind of zoom in on, it'll show me, even in the places that I haven't yet explored, where some loose resources just on the ground are that my heroes can walk over. And it is denoted in this little key here on the right hand side what the resources are. It looks like there's some gold available, some crystal, more gold. And this type of spell can be very valuable because it can help you find out where the enemy heroes are. For example, if there's resources all around, but there's like a dead spot where there's just a circle of no resources at all, that might indicate that there is a hero with a starting town right there, and I can kind of infer that their location might be there. Or I could even note that, hey, there's a whole cluster of resources over here. Maybe I should find a way to get to this little cluster and pillage those resources for my own purposes. There's not a lot of information on this map in particular at this time. I imagine it's because the 3 other heroes or factions that I'm against right now, that they are cleaning up just like I'm trying to clean up. Note that now I have 19 out of 20 spell points instead of the 20, so I did get to spend that 1 spell point on that spell. It was worth it. We've noted earlier that units have attack skill and defense skill. Those are modified by the skills or the attributes of the hero. This hero has an attack skill of 0, a defense skill of 1, 2 spell power, and 2 knowledge. The defense skill is shown to be added to the defense skill, the base defense skill of whatever unit I'm trying to view the stats on. Because I have a +1 defense skill here, it's now added to the boards. They go from a 4 defense skill up to a 5, for example. Spell power is interesting in the sense that it can do 2 different things. There are the combat spells that are more utility based, things like a haste or things like a slow or a blind. Increased spell power will impact those spells by their duration, how many turns of combat they will last. If I have 6 spell power, my spells will last for 6 turns in that regard. And so the more spell power you have, the less you have to maybe reapply a certain debuff to an enemy or a buff to your own units. And it can force the enemy into a tricky position where they have to choose between, do they use a combat spell against you, or do they try and just keep their units in a good way? What's the best solution? It's very dependent on what you got going on. So spell power affects utilities, duration, and it also impacts how hard combat spells will hit. For example, a damaging spell like a lightning bolt or a frost ring or a magic arrow, those will hit harder the more spell power you have. And so spell power is a very valuable stat. These are heroes of might and magic. Magic is low-key broken in this game, and I love it. And so I can always get attack skill and defense skill that can be buffed or increased by finding artifacts, as can I do with spell power and knowledge. I can find artifacts and things on the map, but by getting a better hero, you give yourself a decidedly better advantage in combat. The other stat that we didn't mention yet is the knowledge, and essentially this is just going to determine how many spell points that hero has. Note that I have 19 out of 20 spell points. The 20 max spell points I have is because I have 2 knowledge. Every knowledge point increases the amount of spell points that hero has by 10. Which is better, spell points or spell power or knowledge? The community will indicate to you that knowledge is the most important, that availability is the best ability. I'm inclined to agree, but to a certain extent. Once I know I'm not going to run out of spell points anytime soon, I'll generally tend to personally prefer spell power. I like my stuff to hit hard and stick around for a minute. My heroes gained a level, so they just got +1 knowledge, so they're going to have an additional 10 spell points available once they increase their or replenish their mana. But I also get the opportunity to learn a skill. By clicking here, this is a new feature that is actually with the FHeroes edition. It gives me the opportunity to view my hero and see, okay, how many slots do I have left? I can pick up a max of 8 new skills. I currently have Wisdom, which allows me to learn increased levels of spells. Right now with Advanced Wisdom, I can learn 4th level spells. When I get Expert Wisdom, I will be able to learn the highest level spells available in the game, the 5th level spells. And I also have the basic ballistics, which we talked about earlier. Now I have to choose between basic diplomacy or basic leadership. Basic diplomacy allows you to negotiate with monsters that are weaker than your group, and about 1/4 of them may offer to join. They're gonna want money though. It's gonna be expensive. And if they offer to join and I refuse them, they will attack me. Basic diplomacy can be very broken, and in fact, in Heroes of Might and Magic 3, it's very broken to the point where if you're doing like PvP type stuff, there's generally rules. There's tournament rules about how you can use diplomacy, or it's gotten to the point where things like Horn of the Abyss or the HD edition, they've nerfed it, they've balanced diplomacy so it's more viable. In Heroes of Might and Magic 2, it hasn't become as broken. It has not become as broken as it gets to be in Heroes of Might and Magic 3. And I don't really want to deal with getting random creatures into my army right now. Especially when my other option is basic leadership, which increases my heroes' troops' morale by 1. Again, maybe giving my units the opportunity to attack additional turns in the same go in a battle can totally turn the tide. We're going to go with basic leadership, hands down, no questions asked. I'm going to take more experience. I gained a new level. Knowledge is now +1. I have the opportunity to do Eagle Eye, which gives me a chance to watch an enemy hero cast a spell, and then I can just learn that spell and it gets copied into my spell book. Or I can do Mysticism, which will regenerate additional spell points. I'm going to choose Mysticism because Eagle Eye is absolute garbage, and if anybody tells you otherwise, they are an apologist and they're insidious. And do not ever believe them for 1 second. Mysticism it is. Because I just gained 2 knowledge, both times I leveled up from level 2 to level 4, I gained +1 knowledge. Note that I now have a maximum of 50 spell points, but I still have the original 28 I had at the beginning of this turn. I need to replenish these. I can either replenish my spell points by getting 1 additional spell point per day. I guess now it's 2 total spell points a day because of my mysticism. Or I can spend a night in a town that has a mage guild, and by staying in the mage guild overnight, I get to replenish my spell points. Or I can visit a magic well. A drink from the well has restored my spell points to maximum. That sounds ideal. We're going to do that. Okay. Remember that we're going to do a little bit of a shuffle here. My hero in my town is going to pick up all my units, but before I do that, I'm going to upgrade this dwelling, the Ivory Tower, from the ability to give me Magi to Archmagi. Note that in the FHeroes edition, I can easily go back and forth between the lower level creatures and the upper level creatures. The lower level creatures here, the Magi, are 600 gold per unit. The upgraded version is 700 gold per unit. It's totally worth it for this reason. If I look at the stats of the base creature, they have, attack skill, defense skill that are pretty normal. The important things to note generally are things like hit points and speed. They have 30 HP and they're fast. The upgraded version is very fast. They have more hit points. They have higher speed, and higher speed translates to more wins pretty much every time. I also noticed that it doubled their shots from 12 to 24. That can be incredibly valuable, and it increased their attack skill and their defense skill by a small amount. Looks like by 1 each. Also, creatures in Heroes of Might and Magic 2, some of them have special abilities. These can be denoted under the little portrait of the unit and above the stack size. So right there it says in white, no melee penalty. Generally shooters, if a unit runs up on them, a flying unit lands right next to them and attacks them, or a unit crosses the battlefield and engages with them, shooters will have to take a melee penalty of about generally 50% or more. I don't know exactly what the stat is, but all of a sudden you notice that your damage has tanked. And that's a problem. However, the Magi have the special ability to where they have no melee penalty. Even if somebody hops right on top of them, they're still going to be a force to be reckoned with no matter what. They have no melee penalty, but then if I get the upgraded version, I keep the no melee penalty, and the unit has a 20% chance to dispel beneficial spells. I believe that that's when I attack a unit. So that can be incredibly valuable to have this kind of unit that can debuff an entire stack of creatures. Very valuable. So the upgrade for 100 gold from base version to the upgrade, totally worth it. Best decision I ever made. Don't even talk to me. I'm not going to worry about it. I've got 6 Magi in my stack, and now I'm happy as a clam. The only concern I have is that I only have 850 gold in my coffers right now. Maybe I shouldn't have taken all those treasure chests and turned them into experience. Maybe I should have kept a little bit more. But I am going to purchase whatever units I can. Personally, because I lost those halflings earlier, I'm considering buying the halflings. And in fact, I'm going to. I'm just going to take the 17 halflings. I'm going to leave the rocks. I'm going to leave the boars. The rocks would be an excellent choice. I wouldn't be mad at you if you bought the, let's see, that would have been 2 rocks. I wouldn't have been mad if you had taken 2 rocks over 17 halflings, but we all got our choices to make. And now we're going to start doing the hero transfer, where I'm going to, for the first time, have our heroes meet up. And I'm going to transfer units from one hero to another. Now, one interesting thing that I can do is I can click on the stack, highlight the portrait. I can hit shift, and then I can either click on another stack, or I can shift and then left click on an empty stack. And I can say, how many troops do I want to move? I can hit the minimum, I can hit the maximum. Essentially, every hero has to have at least 1 unit in their army. But what I've done is, rather than have just 1 stack of 29 halflings, I've now split them into a stack of 10 and 19. I can resplit them here again, and I can move them. So I got 14 and 15. I can try to make them even. I can do some real tactical maneuvers by adjusting my stack sizes. Sometimes it's valuable just to have 1 single unit in a stack, so that way I can have this unit just be there to guard the shooters and be a little bit of a meat shield so that the shooters don't have someone run right on top of them. A boar would be a good choice for that because they're a 2 hex wide creature. They can defend a little bit better. Or if I'm fighting some shooters, for example, I can split the rocks into 2 groups. I could say I'm going to forego the boars, and I'm going to have 1 rock in each stack of 3 stacks, and then these rocks are going to fly across the battlefield maybe and take out some other units. There's lots of decisions to be made here. Right now, this is probably going to be what I stick with, is 1 rock in its 1 stack, the middle stack of boars, and then 2 rocks in another stack. And let's go adventuring with that. Note that the movement points have been depleted for this individual. They got 1 point left, but I've done something tricky. I've tricked the game. Even though a lot of these units have moved very far today already. This hero's got extra movement points. Don't ask me how the hero motivates the units to pull themselves up by their bootstraps and keep walking today, but sure as sugar they're gonna. And we're gonna attack these skeletons. Note that I don't have the spells from the Spell Guild, but I do have Stone Skin. It's a skill that'll increase the defense of a unit by a certain amount for a certain number of turns, depending again on the spell points. That was an example of me getting good morale. The boars have another chance to move. I don't really have anywhere for them to go, so I'm just going to hit skip. My strategy here is to let the slow-moving melee units walk across the map, and as they do so, I'm just going to shoot them dead. Just like that. I'm going to move my troops into kind of more of a defensive position. Let my halflings do some shooting. Let my magi do some shooting. And because these skeletons are right on top of me, I'm just going to go eliminate the smallest stack. When a melee unit attacks another melee unit or attacks a ranged unit, the defending unit will have an opportunity to attack back. So what that looks like is, I don't think that 13 boars are going to kill 14 skeletons. They might actually. We're just going to move the boars there. We're going to skip the Magi's turn. I'm just going to take the hit. The skeletons walk, they attack, they do their damage, and then the boars get a retaliation attack. And it was pretty effective. The boars did 35 damage and 8 skeletons perished. So you got to be careful when you're considering who's going to take the hits, when, where, why. It's worth noting that you can retaliate once per turn for each unit. So sometimes you'll have a very strong unit start a fight with the smaller unit, and then everybody else can kind of pile on them without fear of retaliation or retribution. Just you know, tactical things to consider. So I lost one boar, but I killed all these skeletons. And now I flagged this mine. It indicated that that was a +1 for Mercury. I'm going to go up here and start getting some skeletons. I don't have, well, I got 1,1250 gold, but do I have any buildings I really want to purchase? I'll tell you right now, not really. It's just not my priority. I don't think I'm going to be defending anytime soon. I don't really care what the enemy is doing at the moment. And I don't plan on being attacked anytime soon, so a moat and turrets don't really matter. I'm going to save my resources for something I really want later. There's just a loose pile of gold sitting there that my secondary hero can go get. When your army gets strong enough, stacks of neutral creatures may simply try and run, and you'll have the opportunity, since they're awed by the power of my forces, they begin to scatter. Do I want to pursue and engage them? If I say yes, I will fight them. If I say no, I will let them run away. Generally, you have the thought process of, well, if I fight them, will I get the experience? Yes, but might I lose some of my troops? And if you lose some of your troops, you have to say to yourself, is it worth it? In this instance, I think that I'm going to fight these skeletons because I don't think that I'm going to take any losses. And I want the experience points from killing 30 skeletons, 29 skeletons. Pretty easy fight, no problems. Hey, every little bit helps. One thing that Heroes of Might and Magic has done is brilliant, and they've included quick combat. So here I have this option for battles. I can either manually fight every single battle, which is not bad, but I'll tell you right now, you fight so many battles that it will get tedious and you will get tired at some point. You can instead do auto resolve, and you can run into a fight, and the computer will just automatically calculate who would win, what the losses should be, etc., etc. You can also click auto resolve, but my hero is not going to use spells. In this version, my spells are allowed, and the computer will use some of your spells. The problem is that sometimes the computer is really careless with your spell points, and they will waste a ton of spell points that you didn't need to use to fight a battle. And so by having the option to say auto combat this, but don't cast any spells, you can save yourself the grief. I'm gonna leave this option on from here on out, except for some of the big battles that I'm gonna fight personally. Otherwise, I'm just gonna let the computer fight some of these battles. I don't need to show every single battle here. Lots of orc chiefs. Let's see this auto battle in action. I'm gonna walk onto this, and it's gonna say this was a glorious victory, and I'm gonna get my experience. They lost all of their defenders, all the orc chieftains, and I lost no units. If I want, I can hit OK and accept these results. If I don't like these results, say that I lost, 3 of my Archmagi, I say, wait, that's wrong. I can do way better than the computer can on that because I'm smarter, I'm more skilled at combat. I can then instead click restart, and I'll go to that combat screen. I'll do that. Well, no, I like that result. All right, we're going to hit restart. I'm going to fight the battle myself. I'm a little scared because if I lose one single unit, I officially am worse than the computer, and that doesn't look very good for me. So, Orc Chiefs, again, they're a level 2 unit. They're slow, so they have the speed of 3. I can tell you how the battle's going to go then, based off of that information. So my boars are very fast with the speed of 6. Archmagi, very fast, speed of 6. Average speed of 4, slow at 3. So these are all, these stacks are all speed of 3. Speed of 3. It's going to go boars, Archmagi, rock, and then Orc Chieftain stack, whichever one is closest to the top that's still alive. Then my halflings, and then any of the Orc Chieftains that are left. That's going to be the combat for this game, based off of all my experience in Heroes of Might and Magic, etc., etc., etc. Trust me or don't, your choice. Knowing that, though, I can plan a little bit, and I can say I'm going to have two flyers are going to cover the entire length of the battlefield, and they can jam up these shooters. So I'm probably going to put one rock there. I could put the other rock right there. These shooters are going to go before them. I might as well take out this stack of 5 with my Archmagi. And knowing that, I'm just going to send the boars across the field to start mixing things up. So I'll take out this middle stack. I'll stop the orcs from doing a whole ton of damage. And we'll start this up. It's worth noting that because my units are right next to these shooters, the shooters cannot shoot the more fragile targets in the back of the battle. They have to deal with whatever unit is right in front of them right now. If there's even one tile worth of space between a shooter and another enemy unit, they can still shoot wherever they want to on the map, but if there's a unit directly adjacent to them, they must deal with that unit first. So my halflings are going to help out and kill these orcs. It's worth noting now, for the first time, hit points starting to matter. The rocks have 40 hit points base as start. One of these rocks has only 25 hit points left. Based off of all the damage they've taken from those 2 melee attacks, these guys, I've got 25 HP before I lose 1 rock. And in this one rock has 17 HP left before I lose that 1 rock. So, knowing that, I'm going to send my boars up here to help. Take some hits. I'm going to have my Archmagi clean up. Well, I should have done this a little bit differently. This is a good time for me to cast Stone Skin on this other group of rocks, just to make sure that these Orc Chieftains aren't going to do 25 points of damage. And then I'm going to just finish off that orc. I don't think that those orcs are going to do too much more damage. And then we'll just finish the fight from here. Hey, look at that. Same outcome. They lost all their orcs. I didn't lose a single unit, and I got 405 experience. As you can see, by just accepting the auto combat, I would have saved 4 minutes of my life and yours. So it's valuable and such a huge addition. Note that even Heroes of Might and Magic 3 didn't have the auto combat resolve with the option to then fight the fight yourself if you didn't like the results. That didn't come around until, was it Horn of the Abyss or was it the HD edition? I don't remember. But it's been absolutely one of the most impactful changes you could have made. It speeds up the game drastically. I end up fighting probably about a third of the fights that I otherwise would have. And I'm grateful for things just being a little more speedy to resolve. After a couple hours in the game, you don't need to fight every battle 12 times. Now, if you just noticed, during my click of the end turn, we saw something up here. The computer, there were some trolls right there that were guarding the pass. Some hero has taken those out. That's not my hero. I wonder who it could be. That's pretty concerning because they can now have access into all my main territory here. They can threaten my castle, etc., etc. And they were tough enough to take out some war trolls. So I'm concerned if I go too far this way, then I may not be able to get back in time to head them off or to go back and get good units from my castle. But at the same time, if I merely play very defensive, then I don't have the opportunity to get whatever's over here. So I'm going to throw caution to the wind a little bit. I'm going to fight some goblins. I do want to fight them. I'm going to accept these results, and I'm going to take the gazebo. But now I might be thinking, do I want to start building up my defenses here or not? Note that I for sure have my 10 iron golems, but I also have those rocks I wasn't able to purchase and some boars. For now, I should be fine. Tell you what, I'll build the captain's quarters right now. It's 500 gold. It's a very low investment. And in the event I can't get a hero over there, it's super helpful. Okay, looks like they are coming full tilt. This guy's name is Phineas. It looks like he is a barbarian. He's got a couple of stacks of orc chieftains and one stack of ogre lords. So it's kind of a weak army, to be honest, just looking at it. And then this guy has an army full of the very worst unit in the game, the peasant. We will talk ad nauseum about the peasant because it's so garbage that I struggle to wrap my mind around it, and it's still engaging conversation to this day. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to grab this experience. Ooh. I have the opportunity to get Expert Mysticism. At this point, Expert Mysticism will regenerate 3 additional spell points per day to my hero. Or I can learn Basic Pathfinding. Now, Basic Pathfinding is one of the best skills that a hero can learn because it reduces a movement penalty for rough terrain by 25%. Rough terrain is indicated when you right-click on a certain deal. I'm gonna take Expert Pathfinding, even though I shouldn't, but I'll show you why in a second. When I right-click, it says penalty 100 for grass. Basically, 100 is base, and that's how many movement points it's essentially going to take to traverse one square, as if this was a grid, one square of terrain. You can get a movement penalty of less than 100. For example, roads are, if it's just a dirt road, is a penalty of 75. Or you can look at it as it takes 0.75, or it takes 3/4 of the requirement to move over a road as it would grass. But then rougher terrains then go above 100. For example, I believe that swamp is like 1.75. So it takes 75% again as much movement speed to cross as it does just plain grass. When you have the pathfinding, it reduces that rough terrain penalty by 25% at basic, 50% at advanced, and completely ignores any movement penalties entirely when you hit expert on pathfinding. Very valuable skill. The only reason why I probably shouldn't take it on this map is because as I'm looking at it, I'm guessing, I don't know for sure, but I'm guessing that it's all going to be grass. That just looks like the tile set that's used. I don't anticipate that we're going to run into any terrible terrain. Also, partially because this is the first scenario in the campaign, I'm doing a little bit of metagaming here right now, so sue me. But with that being said, it's time for me to kind of head back. Because they're coming in so hot, I want to make sure that I get the opportunity to say hello on my terms and not on theirs. I may do another deal where I move heroes or move units from my castle and ferry them over to my main hero. Even though right now I am pretty sure that this hero can beat whatever they're trying to throw at me. In fact, I'm guessing that they've cleared this fog of war. He's going to see my hero and say, yikes, I'm out of here. Let's see what he does, though. I have one or more heroes that may still move. Am I sure I want to end my turn? This hero here in the castle, you can see he's got that much movement left, but I do want to keep him in the castle just because, number one, he's more defended in there. This hero is not going to get all the way into my castle this turn, so I'm safe. But if I go up here, he could probably get there. Maybe it'd be close. I just don't want to risk it. It's more advantageous for me to stay in the castle, so I will stay in the castle and end my turn. Well, hi. How are you? We're gonna... Didn't I put this on expert difficulty, right? We'll see. I don't know how the AI is. I'll tell you right now that some maps I know were made with the AI being terrible, terrible, terrible in mind when they were created. Basically, your forces are overwhelmed by the sheer number of starting forces that the enemy has, and that's how they increased the difficulty when they made the maps, is that they knew the AI was bad, it wasn't fantastic, and so you give the computer some advantages just out of the gate to start with. Well, my understanding is that the AI has improved with FHeroes. In fact, I don't know how they improved it. I don't know if they borrowed the AI from other Heroes of Might and Magic versions. I don't know what they've done. There are some indications that it's improved. For example, they've split the stacks here, which can be very valuable. They split the stacks there, which again can be very valuable. But then he just kind of walked in front of me. Maybe the logic was, I saw you too late, I'm going to get caught anyway, I'm just going to surrender to my fate. Very noble, but very stupid. Okay, the enemy has fled. So I did kill 315 points worth of experience, but I also lost 9 halflings, and the enemy ran away without me actually getting to finish the battle. If the enemy runs, then I can lose experience, and I can lose the opportunity to get any artifacts that that hero may have collected. So with that being said, I'm going to fight this battle myself. This is the first time that we have fought an enemy hero. Note that my hero is still on the left-hand side, and their hero is on the right-hand side. The attacker will always be on the left. The defender will always be on the right. And he's got 4 orc chieftains, a couple of 1 stacks, and 4 ogre lords. And my goal here today is to kind of cheese the AI so that way I can finish the battle and this enemy hero will not run. I'm checking to see what this hero's stats are. I couldn't have checked this out of combat before. Once you're in combat, you can check the stats, but up until that, you can't really. He's got blood morale, which means that it's like a +2 or +3 morale, meaning that I'm guessing his units are going to get the opportunity to take multiple turns. His attack is pretty high. That's going to be a pretty good buff for him, and he doesn't really have any spell power, so even if he casts some spells, I don't anticipate that they're going to be particularly strong. With that being said, a speed of 3 and a speed of 4. Who's going to go first? My boars, then my magi, then his ogre lords, then this rock, then that rock, then his orc chieftains, and then my halflings, and so on. So knowing that, I'm going to traverse the battlefield, and when I say 4 speed, that means that the ogre lords will be able to go 4 hexes, so they can go like 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to want to move my boars no closer than right here, so that way the ogre lords won't get into attacking range, take the first hit, and then ruin my day that way. I'll kill that stack. I think that if I wait on my rocks, the next turn I'll be able to kill all their units in one fell swoop. Maybe. No, I'm going to try and kill this stack anyway. If all I do is kill this one stack, I think that'll be enough. What? Did you see that? 3 rocks couldn't kill 1 orc chief? Yikes. Well, that's my 0 attack for you. Okay. And then these ogre lords are gonna be just a pain to deal with. So we're on a new turn now. I am going to stone skin my boars. I am going to attack these ogres. I'm going to take some damage back. And I knew that. And again, I'm trying to cheese. There's that good morale. I'm trying to cheese this fight so that way I kill everything before he has the opportunity to run away. If the computer AI drops below a certain amount of hit points left on the field, like if they lose, like, I don't know, like 90% of all their troops, most of the time they will run away, especially if they have an artifact. If they have an artifact, the computer says I try to keep those if I can. So with that being said, these troops have gone, these troops have gone. And on this new turn, I'm going to see if I can kill these ogre lords here. And I do. So I think I lost the same amount of units as the auto combat did, but this time I wiped this here off the face of the map. That's wonderful. And there we go. I captured an enemy artifact, a holy pendant. It'll make troops immune to curse spells, and that's not too bad. I did gain 1 spell power in that level up. I can get either luck, which increases my luck by 1, or scouting, which increases the viewable area by 1 tile. These are both good choices. I'm going to take scouting just because there's a lot of map that's still left dark, and information is the best thing you can have, in my opinion. With that being said, he's not going to be able to get all the way over there. I might as well buy whatever troops I can. That's great. Okay, so in the well, this is another FHeroes edition. In the well, you can purchase all the troops from the well. It used to be that you had to go from dwelling to dwelling to dwelling. Because of the well, I can just purchase directly here. How much gold do I have left? I've got 5k gold. I should be able to get everybody. Can I get the boars? I can get the boars. I got 250 gold left over. Not even close. Psh, not even close. In the next turn, I will ferry some additional troops to my main hero. Okay, let's talk about the peasant. We're going to fight this battle. The peasant is the worst unit in the game. They are the tier 1 unit for the knight faction. They have, check this out, 1 base attack, 1 base defense. They do 1 damage. They have 1 hit point. They have 1 hit point left. They're very slow. They only move 2 hexes at a time. They are garbage. They are the worst unit in the game. The only time that you want to see a peasant anywhere near you is if you are a necromancer, because then every peasant that you kill is an opportunity to raise 1 more skeleton. And because they're so weak, you can kill them in swaths. That being said, they are an affront to my very senses. I don't want anything to do with them, and I'm going to kill them as quickly as possible to put them out of their misery. I'm not even going to try to cheese the AI. If they run away, they run away. They don't even get the chance to run away. Get out of here. I don't even want to talk to you. Notice that fight, I got 540 experience. Those 50 peasants absolutely do not have they don't have that much hit points fixed between them. I think that when you attack an enemy hero, you get a base level of experience at 500. You get 500 and then whatever HP on top of that you were able to dispatch. So I am going to move these troops over. This is a new feature that is in later editions of Heroes where you can just click this button and then the units will move back and forth. It'll try to auto balance it. Again, you have to have 1 unit in each army, but now it saved me the trouble. The only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to split the stacks, 7 rocks and 6 rocks, just for combat purposes, for tactical reasons. We're going to attack some archers. Yeah, I'm going to engage them. What? I lost 12? I lost 12 halflings? That's not going to fly. Speed of 4. So these rangers are going to go before my rocks. But my rocks are going to go before then. How did the computer lose 12 halflings? This is so easy. Just shoot the rangers. They're dead. And now your 4 speed's better than the 2 speed. Come on. How did the computer screw up that bad? I'm at a loss. Archers are the level 2 unit for the knight faction. So you have the peasant, and then you have a pretty decent shooter. The blue unit in the middle that I killed was the upgraded version of the archer. They were like the they were the rangers. It's archers upgrade into rangers. Rangers are the exact same as the archers, except they have a little bit of a higher attack and they have a double shot. So by upgrading that unit, they get the special ability to shoot twice in every single turn. Very valuable to upgrade. It's a good unit overall, which kind of makes up for the peasants, but kind of not. There's no other buildings I want to purchase here at this time. Note that the Cloud Castle is going to be my next big purchase. I'm trying to save up 20 gems and over 100,000 gold to get there, but it's going to be worth it once I can get that, because it'll be my tier 6 creature. And by picking up this gem mine, I will hurry up and do that quicker. I've got a feeling that there's something over here. I just don't know what it is. Gain control of a gem mine. It provides you with 1 unit of gems per day. Here in the marketplace, this is where you have the opportunity to trade resources, albeit at a very poor exchange rate. Say that I wanted to pick up 2 extra gems. Say I had a building that costs 10 gems, and right now I have 8 in my coffers. I could click on my excess of wood, and then I could click on the resource that I wanted to trade for, and it says I can offer you 1 unit of gems for 20 units of wood. That's a terrible exchange rate. Terrible. But if I'm really in a pinch, I can make that happen. I'm not going to do that here, but I could trade 20 of my wood and have 19 left over for 1 gem, and then I could do the same thing with ore, and I could have 16 ore left over, and then I could then have my 10 gems. There's other things on the map. For example, this trading post, it does the exact same thing. Just note that the exchange rate is much better. Here it's saying for every 10 wood I can get 1 gems instead of 20. I think that the way it works is that it is basically the number of marketplaces you have in all your castles plus 1. The more castles you get, the more marketplaces you have, you'll get a better exchange rate for having multiple marketplaces. The exchange rate for one marketplace was really bad. It was 20 units of wood for 1 precious resource. If I had 3 marketplaces in 3 separate castles, that ratio would be a lot better, a lot more favorable. Maybe it would be 10 units. Maybe it would be 7 or 5 units of wood for 1 precious resource. It adds up pretty quickly, and it makes it more reasonable to try and trade. Okay. So I've opened up this avenue here, but there's this resource, there's this artifact over here I really, really want to get, and there's a sulfur mine. I don't want to let this fog of war sit there, but I got stuff to do over here, and I didn't even really get over here. I can see that there's some things I might have missed, but for now, I'm just trying to make the best decision and clear out more of my hometown before we get into some wild and crazy shenanigans with the enemy. Ah, I was right. There is a little horde of sprites there. I wish I could see what's up here, but I don't think that I can get close enough to really tell. I'm going to use my second hero to go and try and sally forth into the fog of war. It's a bad decision because there's a good chance I'm going to lose that hero. However, it's a good decision because then I can see an enemy coming from further away, and that might be the difference between me mounting a successful defense or not. Doing a little bit of risk-reward calculation there. Pack of dwarves, I should be able to kill them. No problems. Is Eagle Eye good? I've told you before, it's not. Expert mysticism it is. This is a Shrine of the Second Circle. A Shrine of the Second Circle will allow me to learn a second level spell. In this case, it is Disrupting Ray, a great spell. It costs 7 magic points, but it reduces the defense rating of a whole stack of units by 3. It can be very, very valuable in any given fight. So I'm glad I have that spell. I am going to want to see if I can get this gazebo here. And I don't think I have a building I need to purchase just yet. This is officially very scary. 1,000 experience. Oh, this is actually... I wish I'd known. Okay, so this might be a very bad move for the following reason. After I fight these centaurs, which I do want to fight them, I'll accept the 4 halfling losses. From the observation tower, you are able to see distant lands. And in a wide circle, the map has been revealed. And so what are some things that it's shown me? I've got a gold mine over here. That can be incredibly valuable for me. The path is guarded as such. And then this, oh boy, this hero might be able to catch my secondary hero napping. I wish I'd known. I wouldn't have put him in so much danger, but it might work out and he might get away. It'll be close. We'll see. All right, no problems. Thankfully, because he's got lots of peasants, the peasants are slowing down his whole army, and we're just going to speed away. Compare how far he moved from here to here versus how far my hero can move because he's got very fast boars. Bye now. He's got a... well, it's not really a good army because that's probably like 2 to 4 units in each stack, minus the peasants. It's not a good army. I'm not super threatened. I'm going to go do some more adventuring over here, and I'll trust that my secondary hero can mount a successful defense. Glorious battle. The artifact. Through a clearing, I observe an ancient artifact. Unfortunately, it's guarded by a nearby paladin. Do you want to fight the paladin for the artifact? I am going to say yes. The paladin is the 6th level unit for the knight faction. They're not particularly tough, but they can give you some problems. I'm going to fight the battle myself just so you can see kind of what a 6th level creature looks like. Note that from faction to faction, 6th level creatures vary wildly in their cost as well as in their effectiveness on the battlefield. My strongest unit right now is my 5th level Archmagi. They have 35 hit points. They're very fast. They do 7 to 9 damage. The 6th level unit for the Knight faction will do 10 to 20 damage. They have 50 hit points, and they are fast. They also have the special ability that they will do a double strike. The Paladins can be upgraded by increasing or upgrading their habitat, their dwelling, I think from like a cathedral to like a holy cathedral or something like that. And they can become crusaders after paladins. They can get increased stats. They can have some additional abilities. Okay, fine. Here's the deal though. These guys have 50 hit points. My giants, my 6th level base creature, they have 150 hit points. They do 10 to 20 damage. My giants do, I think it's either 10 to 20 or 20 to 30 damage. Which is better? It's the giant, hands down. From a combat sense, it just, there's no comparison. The wizard level 6 creatures are just mightily superior to the knight faction. So now you're saying to yourself, wait. My top tier creature is better than their top tier creature. And they have the worst level 1 creature in the game with the peasant. How are they even a faction? And here's the point, is that back in 1996 when the game was created, balance was not necessarily a thing. It is worth noting that all the factions have strengths and weaknesses, and some factions shine in different points of the game. For example, Knights and Barbarians are actually really, really good in small maps early in the game. Reason being is because you can usually get all their creatures available to you very, very quickly at a very cheap cost, and then you can use that to kind of snowball the game or roll it into a victory. But that being said, if you're fighting any kind of game that's going to last any significant length of time, you're probably going to want somebody like Wizards, who have, I think, the second best unit in the game, which is my upgraded version of my 6th level creature. The Giants turn into Titans. Or something like Warlocks, who have the best creature in the game, which is Dragons, right? A 300 hit point Titan will absolutely destroy the Knights at any point in time. But again, if it's a small map, if the Knight faction gets off to a good start, it has its place, it has its uses, but it's niche. And again, is it balanced? No, not really. Just something to consider. So, speaking of which, this one Paladin, we are just going to say skip and dead. Bye-bye, 6th level unit. But I'm going to take the Golden Bow. It eliminates a 50% penalty for my troops shooting past obstacles. Once we get into some combat against the computer AI that involves me attacking their castles, I'll show you how valuable this is. That dirty dog. Note that this gold mine's been flagged by the orange player, and this green unit just flagged my gem mine. If I go to my kingdom, of course, I don't have that one gem producing 1 gem for me a day until I reflag it, which I will. Oh, I will. Sometimes you have this little tug of war of resources and trying to take them at the knees so that your troops can prosper. You know how it goes. Purchase all these units with the exception of the golems, because I want to say iron giants because of the movie, but they are iron golems. Yeah, if you remember the Iron Giant, by the way, you had a good childhood, and I'm very happy for you. This is wonderful. As I'm going across the map, I found some halflings, and this group of halflings have a desire for greater glory, and they just want to join me. This happens occasionally when your army is much stronger than the opposing army, and they say, dude, we can't beat them, let's join them. And so I go from 39 halflings up to 83, so I picked up like 40 some halflings right there. That's wonderful. You can do the similar thing with diplomacy, except then you have to pay for the units. That's where diplomacy can be valuable. But for now, I'm just happy to have gotten some free units, and I didn't even have to fight that fight. Maybe it'll happen again? Nope, it didn't happen again. It only happens occasionally. These halflings, awed by the power of my forces, are going to scatter. I am going to fight them. I'm not going to fight them because I'll fight them. Okay, and I didn't even take any casualties. I was worried I would lose some halflings, and that was my concern. I've got 2 excellent options here. So I gained 1 spell power, and I can get estates, which will allow my hero to just generate gold as if they are their own personal gold mine at a low rate, but a meaningful rate. Or I can take logistics, which will increase my hero's movement points by 10%. I'll tell you right now, I think that logistics is going to help me wrap this scenario up quicker. The gold's important, but because I have a gold mine not too far away, I think that I can leverage logistics into long-term success better. This green hero is going to be in for a rude awakening. I'm so confident, I'm going to go to my windmill and pick up 2 free ore first. I do win, but it's going to be a bit of a nasty fight. Tell you what, just in the interest of time, I'm going to accept these losses. I'm not going to accept these. Yeah, I'm going to accept these losses. And when I beat that hero, I get an artifact, a spiked helmet, increases attack and defense by 1. I get a lightning rod, so lightning spells will do 50% more damage. And I got a couple of spells, or skills here. Now, can I beat this person? I think so. They've got a level 1, 2, and 3 Barbarian unit in very small numbers. I don't think I need to worry about that. I'll take the gold. There's another observation tower here. It doesn't really let me see a whole bunch more. And then I'm here this far. I've got the troops. This is going to be a tough fight, but I'm going to take on these ogres. The computer says I'm going to lose 5 rocks. Let's see how much better I can do than they. Ogres are the backbone of the barbarian town, the barbarian faction. They are tough, they're slow moving, but they pack a punch. It's a good example of why the upgraded unit will matter. The green tunics ogres are just flat ogres, and they have 40 hit points, 4 to 6 damage, and they are very slow. They only move 2 spots at a time. Their upgraded counterparts have twice the speed, an additional, 50% hit points, and basically double the damage. The cost is not all that exorbitant, and so the barbarians are always going to want to get ogre lords as soon as possible because it's so meaningful, so significant. You'll see it just as they're walking across the battlefield because they're going to get to me. I don't think I can shoot them down before they actually make windfall. I am going to disrupting raid them. I should have disrupting raid them before, so the arc magi could benefit from that. One more shot. Okay. And then I think that they're weak enough that I can let the rocks clean up this stack. And I reduced the defense of this other stack of ogres. I'm worried. I don't want to lose units if I can help it. Again, that war of attrition is always key. And I might as well just save my troops because I don't think I'm going to lose a unit unless I play this very poorly. Good morale kicking in. That's wonderful. I'm going to let my rocks chill and just shoot them dead. So I saved the troops. I'm very happy, and next turn I'll pick up a free gold mine. I'm interested to see what this AI does here. Do you wander right in front of me and die, or do you run away? I guess that answers that question. I'm a little sad. I swear that I've seen the AI do better than this. Just in the short little time I've played this game. Prior to this campaign, I started one of my all-time favorite scenario maps, a single-player map by Charles Watkins. It's Ghost Planet. Wonderful map, by the way. And the AI was actually noticeably better. This is noticeably sadder. Yeah, I'm sad. I'm going to do something here. I'm going to buy the Thieves Guild. Note that it's going to provide me some information, and like the marketplace, the more Thieves Guilds I have spread across different towns, the more information it'll give me. For now, one Thieves Guild will give me this much information. It'll let me know the number of towns enemy faction has, the number of castles, the number of heroes. So right now, I've got 2 heroes, and so I know that the green faction and the orange faction both have 2 heroes, and then the yellow can have 3 or more heroes. I don't know if it's 3, I don't know if it's 4 or 5, but I know that since they're first in heroes, they've got to have more than the rest of us, the rest of the other factions. And I can see, who their best hero is. That can be valuable because if I see that portrait, when I'm clicking through, I guess I don't see any other heroes. If I saw a hero pop up here, I could right-click on who they were and see if they were one of those portraited heroes. And that can help me, again, make better decisions in my game. I think we're just going to wait. I could probably use him to clear out some of this other items, because this hero has never gone home. They haven't sniffed the new Mage Guild, and in fact, it's tough. Do I go for giants or do I go for spells? I'm guessing, based off of what I've seen from enemy heroes so far, that my Arc Magi are just such a powerful unit anyway, and I've got them in fair enough stacks that I can probably, with some decent supporting spells just roll through the enemy. I don't want to wait 6 turns. I don't want to trade a whole ton of resources to get... Yeah, I do. I've got the exact amount of gold it takes to get the Cloud Castle. I need 6 gems. Can I get 6 gems? If I can, I should make the trade. As much as I hate to say it. I can get 3 gems here. Hold on. I'm also going to need 5 wood and 5 ore, so I can't actually trade 3 stacks of ore. I could trade 2 though. And then I would just need 4 more. I could trade 2 stacks there. So now I have 18 gems. And then for my crystal, I'll trade 2 stacks of crystal. And hey presto, I'm going to get my 6th level creatures. The Cloud Castle appears, and I will be able to recruit giants. Right now I have no money, and so I'm going to wait until next turn. But why did I do that? It's day 7. So right now there's 1 giant available. I hit my end turn. I show up, and now I have 4 giants available. Manipulating that can be the difference between winning and losing. Every time. I do want that gold. So I'm going to go do that. I'm going to plan on staying here overnight. That'll give me another turn to generate gold and gems, and also it'll replenish my spell points for the Mage Guild. And note that I am getting more gold than I was before because I now have 1 gold mine. I have 1 of every resource generating mine, and so I'm feeling comfortable. Generally, if I have 1 of each, I'm feeling okay because I know eventually I'll reach my goals. I'm not missing something. Whoa! I lost 1. I guess I have a really small army. I think I can do better though. I hope I can do better. One thing that might be hurting me is that these sprites have no enemy retaliation. That might hurt me. But knowing that they're probably going to go after my shooter, I'm going to stone skin them. I'm going to see if I can save myself some damage. And I'm going to go on the offensive here. I have 5 hit points left. Hey presto. Okay. The concern that I have now is though... Aha. So, the Archmagi are going to go. They're going to kill a stack. And then the boars are going to go, but the boars are not going to be able to kill all the sprites, and so then the sprites will be able to do 5 hit points worth of damage. The sprites are going to go before my rocks this time, because if they have the same unit, or the same speed, they'll trade back and forth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually haste the rocks, because the rocks can kill a stack. And I'm going to save the Archmage. Worth it every time. Okay. Oops. So, I'm going to run back because I'm going to try to transfer those units to my main hero. I'm going to buy 2 giants. It's part of my army now. And I'm going to stack up 2 more Archmages. And I might as well get 4 extra halflings. 4 Frodos and Sams. And then I think at this point it's time for me to start adventuring out and trying to clean up this game. This may be the best time to strike because it may be the furthest I'm ahead of my enemies as far as total kingdom army strength goes. I'm guessing that I am right now. It'll show you as you mouse over, it'll say a little number in the bottom right of the horse that says next turn I'll be able to go this far. But once it changes from a 2 to a 3, that indicates that I can go this far next turn. But the turn after that, I'll have to take a whole nother turn to go further. So I'm going to go there knowing that that's exactly where I should be to do a smooth and even handoff and allowing this hero to move forward as much as possible. Trade over the artifacts. Prioritize the upper tiered creatures. Oops. Off we go. I took scouting earlier so I can clear more of this fog of war. Hopefully it serves me well. Okay. That's not a very strong army. They've got one stack of liches, but liches on their own are not particularly powerful. Liches are a level 4, no, excuse me, a level 5 undead stack, necromancer stack. Oh, this was here this whole time. But shooters without support are generally pretty weak. A witch doctor's hut. An orcish witch doctor living in the hut deepens my knowledge of magic by showing me how to cast stones, read portents, and decipher the intricacies of chicken entrails. Beautiful. Lots of iron golems. I'm going to take them out. I'm not going to accept that loss. Generally, when you have a loss like that, it means that a very fast creature flew across the map and then just got absolutely hammered on by all of the slow-moving creatures that then just overwhelmed it. That's probably what the AI did. I'm wondering, actually, hold on. If I click auto combat, will it just automatically resolve it from here? Nope. Nope. I was wondering if I hit auto combat, if it would just finish the battle for me. It will not. Okay. Because all I really need to do to really make that fight go well for me would be to wait, to just make sure the rocks don't fly to their death. And once I did that on turn 1, then the computer can usually figure out a good way of making this work out. Die. You see, the iron golems are tough, but the giants are just tougher by a lot. We're going to take the expert wisdom just in case we do get some 5th level spells. I see this hero. I'm not too worried about him. I'll pick him up later at some point. I think that it's day 6 right now. I'll get whatever extra units I have on my secondary hero, and I'll start ferrying them to the front lines. 1,000 gold a day. The enemy fled after doing 1 archmage worth of damage. I'm not going to accept that. Let's sprint. I'm actually going to kill, I think that 17, let's see, 17 sprites at 1 to 2 damage versus 1 lich. It's no doubt who does more damage. Oh, that's why. That's why I lose 1 archmage. No matter what, there's nothing I could do. He casts a cold bolt spell, and then I just lose 1. I just die. Am I sad? Very sad. Is there anything I can do about it? Nah. Okay. I don't need the spell points, but Shrine of the Third Circle, it's an opportunity to learn a 3rd level spell. Mass Curse is wonderful. Curse is a spell that causes all enemy troops to inflict minimum damage. So if you notice here, and I don't think I've expressly gone over this, but in damage it says 1, 2, 3. Well, what does that mean? It means for the stack of 87, each individual unit will calculate damage on an attack between 1 and 3. So they could all hit for 3, they could all hit for 1, and they can have a mix of anywhere between some of them hitting for 1, some of them hitting for 2, and some of them hitting for 3, and that's how the game determines how much damage a stack will do. If you're cursed, though, you're going to do a maximum damage here of 87 damage, because 87 halflings times 1 is 87. Not to mention whatever defensive stats the enemy that you're attacking has. So a curse can be very valuable in some cases. Other cases, not so much. If you curse an archmage, they're going to lose a little bit of damage, but their range is fairly consistent. You're going to do anywhere between 7 to 9 damage. A curse is going to hurt you a little bit, but not so much. Whereas the giants, that's going to lose 10 damage per stack, or 10 damage per giant. That is pretty significant, right? Rocks, I mean, a floor of 4 and a ceiling of 8, that's a good curse target right there. And so it affects some units more than others. Some units, again, have a higher ceiling but a lower floor as far as damage goes, and Curse can help with that. On the contrary to Curse is the Bless spell. Bless will cause whatever Blessed troop stack to inflict the maximum amount of damage. In this case, for the Archmage, it would be always hitting at a 9 instead of a 7, for example. Alrighty. We're just going to pick up 5 giants ever so casually. Why am I doing this? I'm going to pick up 8 rocks. I could potentially go to the marketplace and sell a lot of resources, figuring this is my final push into the enemy territory just to win the game. I'm not going to do that right now. I could get that crystal mine, but I got a feeling that should go elsewhere. This is a +1 to my attack skill. I've come across a mercenary camp practicing their tactics. The mercenaries welcome me and my troops and invite them to train with them. Shrine of the second circle, Shrine of the first circle. That'll be a first level spell I can learn for free. A slow. That's an excellent spell. Okay, what's here? Aha! There's a castle there, and they have bone dragons. Bone dragons are the 6th level unit for the undead, for the necromancers. So this might be a tough fight. We will see. Pick up some free resources along the way. I don't have any particularly useful spells to help me see what these stacks are, or even if there's like a hero in there. I guess that's not how that works in this version. In Heroes 3, you can garrison a hero inside of the town, and so you can't even see it. I'm guessing that there's no hero here, but there may be some captain's quarters. I'm thinking that I can... Well, I don't know. I have no idea if I can beat this at all, and I'm not going to save scum. So, to be safe, I'm going to wait until I get reinforcements. Because I think that reinforcements will arrive before a new week, and so it'll be worth it to wait. Will they arrive in a week? No, they won't. There's no way they're going to arrive that quick. Wow, major event. So it said in the pre-briefing that the non-player characters would fight each other, and so they have. Green player has been vanquished. So now there's just, if I go to my Thieves Guild, there's only the 3 of us left. There's me, yellow, and orange. So that means that looks like orange took out green because now they've got 2 castles. Interesting. Okay. But orange only has 1 hero. Very interesting. Okay. I feel comfortable beating either of those stacks because that just happened where a hero died. I'm not going to be able to get reinforcements, and I don't think there's a hero in here. I'm going to make this jump. Oh boy. So I am going to win according to the computer, but it's going to be costly. Wow, it's going to be costly. I am going to fight this fight and see if I can do better. It's going to be costly. So the 6th level tier creature for the Necromancer is a Bone Dragon. Note that they have 150 hit points and they do 25 to 45 damage. Compare that to my Giants, 150 hit points like that, but reduced damage, less damage than the Bone Dragon. Where Bone Dragons really shine is they decrease the enemy's morale by 1. Nobody wants to fight a freaking Bone Dragon. That's just scary. And they fly, as opposed to the Giants who just have to walk across the battlefield. So Bone Dragons are a pretty good unit. They are also cheaper. I think they cost 1,500 gold, and I don't think that they cost any special resource. The Giants, recall, they cost 2,000 gold and 1 gem. So, you know, Necromancer is kind of, whereas like Barbarian and Knights are very effective in the early game. Necromancers are kind of strong more in the middle game. They don't have the strongest late game units, but you can also get some of their higher tier creatures fairly quickly. Okay, Curse is not going to affect undead units. That's just a buff. Or, well, it's just, I don't know if you call it a buff. On the one hand, if you're undead, morale does not affect your troops at all. You will always have even morale. You won't ever get any extra turns, but you're never going to lose a turn. But if you're undead, you also take damage to certain types of spells, and there's random creatures that will hurt you extra. For example, the Knight's a tier 6 creature, the Crusader, deals double damage to any undead unit. There's pluses and minuses. One interesting thing is that if you do have an undead unit in your stack, say I lose all my halflings here, which I might, and then I recruit one bone dragon, all my morale is going to go terribly because I'm going to lose my bonus for having all wizarding units. I'm going to then have another loss bonus because I'm going to have some undead in my group. So worse than just having all the same people, I'm then also bringing in somebody that is gross and nobody wants an undead person in their army or as their comrade. And that's something you definitely have to consider when you're building an army is, if I have 5 slots open for troops, but they're all different, is it worth it or not? Especially if it's undead, you got to think double twice. Okay. The defenders have this castled in area, and if you right click here, it'll just bring this up and says that they have a ballista, which is the main armament for the defense. It fires with the strength of 16 archers with +3 bonus to their attack skill. They have also purchased a left turret, which will fire with additional strength, a right turret, which has additional strength, and then the moat, which as I'm crossing it will stop me for that rest of that turn, and it will reduce my defense skill. When you're stuck in the moat, it's hard to defend yourself. So with that being said, there's one key feature that might come out is that there's a drawbridge in the very, very middle that can only be operated by the defenders. And so I'm guessing that we'll see these mummies come out and try and make a break for my shooters. I could be wrong. We will see. Okay. If I'm able to kill the mummies on the bridge will stay down. So there's some tactical nuance in that regard. Unfortunately, I can't reach them right now. And I don't have a dispel. I don't have a cure. I don't have any spell that can help get rid of this blind. The Archmagi are blind, and therefore they cannot move. They can't attack. And if they are attacked while they're blind, they will only retaliate at a reduced effectiveness, at like 50% damage of what they would usually do. That's a huge blow. That's bad. And again, I don't have any spell that I can cast to remove that. The only thing I can really do is probably cast shield on them to try and defend them a little bit more. I'm guessing that they're going to get attacked every turn by these turrets. It's not that I'm not thrilled. I'm not thrilled. What I'm going to do is I'm going to haste my giants and try to engage these mummies. Get them in the fight. 17 rocks is a lot of rocks. 7 vampires is a pretty good stack. I don't think I can kill 7 vampires. Oh my gosh. This is torture. I'm going to save. If I attack the vampires, I'm not going to take any retaliation because they already retaliated against the rocks. Oh my gosh. I'm not having a good time. I'm not having a good time at all. 12 royal mummies is still probably worth attacking them. 26 boars. I better attack these dragons. Dude, this is totally not good. The only good thing I have going for me is that blind is an expensive spell, and the captain only has 20 spell points. Now he has 2 left. So there's no more blinds coming out. That's good. But already, compared to the computer, I've already lost a giant. That's great. That's great. Yeah, I killed their dragons, but... Alright, and to make sure I can end this fight in a reasonable manner, I've got to start killing some of these stacks. I'm going to lose these giants. Holy cow, I'm going to lose these freaking giants. I'll try and block for him, but I've got no reason to believe that somebody's not going to do 31 points of damage to him. I'll kill this stack back here as quick as I can. Halfling's just got to wait. Dark Magi are finally going to get into the fight a little bit. Bro, that was bad. On the one hand, I saved an extra 12 halflings. On the other hand, I lost an extra giant. Now, to be fair, I also saved, I think, 3 or 4 archmage, but I mean, just losing one giant's bad. I thought I was going to lose both giants. I'm glad I didn't, but yikes. We're taking logistics. This is the first time that we've seen a new castle. So this is the undead or the necromancer's hometown. Every hometown is going to look the same. Every wizard town is going to look basically like that. Every necromancer town is basically going to look like this. Their units that they can purchase are in the excavation, a graveyard, the pyramid, the mansion, the mausoleum, and the laboratory. And they can purchase skeletons. They can purchase zombies or mutant zombies when they're upgraded. They can purchase mummies or royal mummies when they're upgraded. They can then purchase vampires or vampire lords when the vampires are upgraded. Vampire lords are awesome, by the way. They're an S tier creature, just absolutely spiffing. And then they also can get liches or power liches, the only shooter available to their faction. And then bone dragons, which are 1,500 gold, but they pack quite a punch. They have a good debuff against enemies. It's a solid creature, not like a titan, not like a black dragon, but still pretty good. Meaning that they have one shooter that they get very late in their faction, but they also have 2 flyers. Again, 2 flyers that they get pretty late though. Really, where necromancers are able to make up a lot of these deficiencies in their faction is the fact that their heroes generally come with necromancy, and when they have necromancy, they can raise units that they kill on the battlefield as skeletons, increasing their army over time, and so you can get a huge stack of skeletons, and that can be very powerful. The skeleton's not a particularly strong unit, average speed, 4 hit points, 2 to 3 damage. But if you have 200 skeletons, if you have 500 skeletons, that's a force to be reckoned with. And that's a great target to use a utility spell on something like haste, something like, I'm thinking bloodlust. Yeah, I think that there's bloodlust in Heroes 2. But something to just make sure that they can really go. While I'm here, I don't need to click on it to find out, but it'll be the easiest for me to find out. By clicking on the Mage Guild, I can see that now I'm going to have in my spellbook for this hero Magic Arrow. This is the first damaging combat spell that I have. It'll do some damage. Lightning Bolt is a damaging spell. Cold Ray is a damaging spell. Blind, which was used very effectively against my troops. Oh my goodness. It prevents them from moving. Paralyze is the same basic deal, except it's better than Blind. Blind reduces retaliations when they are unblinded by an attack. Paralyze makes it so they can't retaliate at all. Can't move, can't retaliate or anything. A fantastic spell to have is also anti-magic. You cast it on your unit, and your unit then cannot get blinded, can't get lightning bolted, can't get cursed, etc., etc. The only downside is then you can't do any positive buffs as well, but I mean, considering that it prevents all harmful magic, not so bad, not so bad. So I'm happy with this. I'm sad I lost the troops I did, but we will carry on. I have most of my spell points. I'm just going to wait a night because I only have 1 movement anyway, and that'll help me figure out my next move a little bit better. We'll see what happens over here with this little fracas. I'm gonna follow him. I'm gonna see if I can kill. I'll kill this guy. For one piggy, I'm not even gonna think about it. This is their tough guy. This wasn't one of the two here. They had 3 heroes, and this guy is different. And this is an army that I need to actually be careful of. I need to go away. I need to run. I still think I can at the very least put up a good fight. I don't think that the computer AI is even going to want to fight me. But if he fought me, I would lose some troops in a way that I don't really like. So if I can combine the forces, then we can eliminate the need to resupply later. Yikes! He did think he could beat me, and in fact he did. Wow. Okay, we're going to fight this fight ourselves just to see how bad it is. But he wins handily. I take out some of his troops, but let's see how this goes. Ideally, if I was smart, there's that blind coming out again. Wow! Ideally, I would have moved the Archmagi to the very top. The order that which units appear in your heroes' slots does matter. It does matter. As you can see, the Minotaur Kings got good morale, and they came across the board, and yikes. I'm not thrilled about that, of course. I'm going to Stone Skin my strongest unit. They got so many effective hit points, I might as well just try to soak up damage and do some damage. These Hydras are a very tough unit. They're incredibly slow. They move only 2 speed, but they have 75 HP, and they'll damage all enemies that are around them when they do attack or retaliate. I'm guessing that in this AI version, I'm going to kill everything but the Hydras. That's just my guess. We'll see how good of this I can do. This is actually maybe a fight I can cheese. He's got 31 magic points, which is pretty high actually. But if he wastes all the spell points, because these units are so slow, I can move Archmagi, shoot, move, shoot, and just run around in a circle. Assuming we get that far, we will see. Because he's got 31 spell points, he might just start blasting. And I mean just blasting heavy spells like Lightning Bolt. In fact, I'm guessing he will. And in the meantime, let's just kill what we can. Good morale is wonderful. There's 46 hit points worth of Minotaur Kings here. 1 hit point left on the top stack, and then 45 under that. So I'm going to instead attack these gargoyles and just clear out that stack. Because the Griffins are going to be able to move all the way across the map anyway, I might as well just kill this stack of Centaurs. Except, oh wait, no I can't because reasons. I'll do my best though. This is a time where I think it makes sense for me to haste my giants again, because then I'll be able to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, I won't be able to get close enough. I'm worried that he's going to blind my giants, and then all my units are going to be blinded, and then he's just going to walk his Hydras up and then break the blind himself. But we'll see. Okay, turns out that's not what he did, and in fact, they broke the blind on the rocks, so that's worth noting. I've still got 4 turns before the Archmages are, rise and shine kind of a deal. Whereas because I've only got 2 spell power myself, I already have to reapply Stone Skin to my giants. Spiffing. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can cheese this fight. I might be able to cheese this fight. Oh boy, you see, there it goes. He's popping off with the damaging spells. I think he's got 1 more damaging spell in him, which is probably going to be, well, I mean, because with 6 spell points, he could do like 2 magic arrows, or he could do like 1 cold ray. He doesn't have any more lightning bolts left. Those cost 7 spell points. So I'm guessing he's going to use 1 more damaging spell on the Archmages. So I might as well take my shot now. But I'm still going to run in hope that he's not going to be able to completely mess me up just yet. We will see. I'm just going to wait. There it is. Okay. He's got 1 more magic arrow. It looks like it did show logs. Magic arrow. His one magic arrow. He's got 60 more damage on... What? Oh, I accidentally hit skip. He's got one more... Well, he had one more magic arrow. He opted instead to use curse for 5 turns. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to run in a circle. And so I'm going to waste your time and my time until your spell wears off. You stupid son of a gun. Okay, so now I've got... I'm going to choose this fight. I don't even care. If you're playing against a player right now, they would probably be just yelling at you, just screaming obscenities. Too right they should, but also get good. Just get good, man. How hard could it be? Just get good. Okay, and I'm actually going to, because I've got plenty of spell points, that's not a problem. I'm going to wait until I can get one more stone skin off onto the rocks. Reason being, again, because these hydras will attack everybody adjacent. So they're going to be attacking the giants and the rocks at the same time. I might as well just keep reapplying stone skin and try to increase my defenses. But it should work out. So they attack. They got good luck, so they did a lot of damage. They did 264 damage. I got to reapply the stone skin to the giants. The rocks are going to take hits because they have no choice. I'm not going to reapply stone skin because it's just not going to matter. There's no point in doing any spells now until my stone skin goes off. It doesn't matter if you attack the front or the behind of a unit like this. Anywhere you attack, they'll return to face. It won't be a problem. Ah, this is going to be close. Look, 3 hydras. Oh, actually, no, I'm going to win this. The stone skin and just waiting out their spells really saved me here. But I got a feeling that he's not going to let me actually win the fight. I got a feeling that he's going to run. I'm not going to be able to kill the hydra. Oh, wait, can I do 35 damage? If I can do 35 damage, I win the fight, and then he goes home crying. Get out of here! Who do you think you are? No, I am. If you know that reference, you're a good person. Okay. So, what did we learn? You can do an awful lot with tactics in the actual battle. More than just, putting army strength against army strength. You can do a lot to really make the battles come out in so many different ways. The AI didn't do a terrible job there. It did a good job. On a scale of 1 to 10, it probably performs consistently in battles at like a 3 or a 4. The problem is it's not very creative in the sense that it won't try and wait things out. It won't try and, utilize speed advantages to shoot, run. Those are some more human tactics, but it can be all the difference. And because, again, the developers knew that the AI wasn't particularly strong, they gave all the AI factions and enemies that you're going to come across bonuses in general already. So you're going to need to do some things like this to really get your own advantage. That's going to be the difference between you winning and losing. We got an Evercold Icicle, so cold spells will do 50% more damage to enemy troops. I'll have 1 extra square of terrain revealed when I'm adventuring. It's like having basic scouting for a telescope. And my hero leveled up. I'm going to take the basic estates and luck because, hey, I feel lucky after that one. I actually leveled up twice from that one fight. I gained so much experience that my hero went from level 2 to level 4. Alrighty, and we're just going to... We're not licking our wounds because, hey, we won. And if you're the victor, you drink champagne and nobody can tell you not to. But we are recognizing that we were a little lucky and it's better to be lucky than good. So we're going to mosey on here. Close. I've got a ton of gold and I've got troops to buy. Knowing that, I am going to purchase a new hero and use them to ferry all my creatures that are going to replenish tomorrow. And I'm actually going to wait because neither of these heroes really strike me as awesome, so I'm going to wait. Every single week you'll get 2 new heroes as your possible choices, and sometimes if you defeat an enemy hero, it'll show up in your own shop, and then you'll have a hero that is like level 3 or level 4, already has some basic skills. They're just a better hero all around, some basic stats, and you can recruit them in to your army. Heck, they'll even carry across spells that they might have picked up from another spell or a mage guild. It can be very, very valuable. So I'm going to wait 1 turn. Week of the Lizard. Like here, Ambrose the Knight, level 1, I'm not going to need him. Flint the Wizard, I guess I'm going to take him just because he's a wizard. And that's +9 halflings, and why not? Gonna purchase all these. And you know what? And I'm even going to upgrade my foundry. And I'm going to, well, are 7 steel golems better than anything here? No. But if I could have gotten 40 steel golems, that would have been better than 7 rocks. It would have been better than 24 boars. I just don't have the time to wait to purchase all 40. But I don't feel bad about having the option to purchase my shiny new 10-min later. Okay, so I'm going to ferry these troops to the front. If you noticed, I saw a hero pop up during the enemy's turn, and that is Orange's strongest unit. And remember, Orange is the faction that killed Green, so they might have lost some troops in that big fight, but also that means that they're probably pretty strong, and now they have 2 towns worth of mage guilds, etc., etc. I think that actually, though, I stole their town here. Yeah, I stole their town here, so really, I'm doing okay. Right now, my 2 towns should be able to overcome their 1 town each over time, even if no matter what. Okay, what's the big idea with me losing giants? What's the big idea? Let's fight this fight and see what's wrong. So I just want to point out that I lost my concentration. Liches attack in an area, and so by attacking the halflings, they also attacked the boars. And I also want to note that they did absolutely blind my archmage. Now what will I do? I'm so very sad. I can anti-magic, remove the negative spell, and now we're safe. Now we have a better chance of survival. The only issue I have to deal with now is that they've got 2 flyers that are probably going to come and attack my 1 stack of shooters. So I'm going to head that way and let my archmage try and blow up their shooters, the war trolls and the power liches. And actually, because I figure the vampires are going to fly over here as well, the giants can help fight that fight. I'm going to try and jam up their liches and get rid of this stack of mummies. I'm not as worried about these troops as I probably should be. It's important to note that if I did bring the boars down here, there's a little patch of dirt or grass right there, and that would make it so the giants couldn't attack the vampires or the bone dragons. Because they can get all the way around, and I'm probably going to attack the bone dragons anyway, I'm still going to go down, but that's just something to mention, because the map changes from map to map and place to place. Take out as many stacks as possible. And let's consider what spell to use. We've got some damaging spells. 262 damage. Because I got 7 spell power, that can do some serious damage. Wait, they have 56 HP, so there's 206 hit points there. Bye-bye. Get that corn out of my face. Okay. The rocks are doing what they do best. I'm just going to take out the trolls. I think I'll kill, yep, that whole stack there. And now I'm actually going to haste. Well, I'm just going to... I know a lightning bolt will kill them. It'll cost me a little bit more spell points. It'll cost me 4 extra spell points. I think that 3 giants would kill 3 power liches when the top stack only has 1 hit point left. But let's just make sure. So nobody runs away. I saved my giants that fight. It's wonderful. And I killed their best hero. That's double wonderful. Knowing that I've just caused a lot of damage and they're probably on their heels, I'm going to wait until my resupply hero gets there because I don't think that there's any rush. Even if they get another week's worth of creatures, I think I'll be okay. What are you doing posturing up to me? Don't ever talk to me or my child again. I'm just using this as a secondary hero to explore. I think he's actually trying to fight me. I've got tons of experience. I've still got plenty of units. I'm going to split this stack of rocks so that way I got some more tactical options. This time he's only got a few of his hydras. I think I got this fight in the bag. Wow, that was still a lot of losses. Let's see how much better I can do. He's probably going to cast blind on someone. His fastest unit is speed 6. So my boars are going to go, then his gargoyles are going to go, so he's probably going to cast a spell. Well, I guess my boars will go, and then his Minotaur Kings will go. So I'm actually going to wait. I'm going to opt not to use a spell. Well, hold on. Which unit, which is going to do more? 1 lightning bolt that does 262 damage, or 8 archmage doing 7 to 9 damage? I'm not great at math, but it seems to me that you just do the lightning bolt because even if they blind my archmage, so what? Like, I'll still do more damage by using the damage from the spell to kill some troops. Now, it's worth it to me to figure out sometimes, do I want to kill a whole stack, or do I want to just beat one really big stack down? I'm not worried about the hydras. They're going to take forever to get into the fight. But if I'm doing 262 damage, this is about what? This is less than 200 hit points worth of creatures, and this is also this is like 125 hit points worth of creatures. So it's best for me to lightning bolt their fast unit. Probably send my pigs to start threatening to block their 1 shooter. He does not have any spells, or he opted not to use them. Oh, he's got 1 out of 20 spell points. Well, that answers that question. My rocks are gonna go get their centaur, so I'm just gonna get a flyer. Giants for the win. That's actually a little terrifying. You're like, how fast can snakes move? It's like, I don't know, pretty fast, I guess. I'm gonna kill the Minotaurs because the Minotaurs are the biggest, most immediate threat. If they get morale again, they're gonna reach me and they're gonna do a lot of damage. Just to play it safe, again, war of attrition, I'm just gonna run away because they're not gonna go that far. I'll skip the rocks. I'll just prepare for my next fight. I'm just gonna sacrifice 3 boars. I'm gonna sacrifice them to the stupid snakes that can kill my stack there. Oh, I didn't even kill the stack. Lightning bolt them and kill them off. The idea was to eat up their 1 retaliation on just 3 boars, but they didn't even do that. So I'm very happy. Mage's Ring of Power. This is a plus to the spell power. It's +2. And I'm gonna pick up extra luck. My hero now has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 skills. There are many other skills that I could have picked. I just wasn't offered a whole lot of other skills, and now this hero is basically locked. And if you're not happy with something, say that I was forced to take basic Eagle Eye for some reason. Oh well, that's just kind of how the cookie crumbles. Alrighty, I'm guessing that I need to go north. I might as well pick up a few of these mines along my way. I'm not going to worry about the mercury just yet. I'll have somebody else grab that for me. Okay, for example, so I've got only 3 skills here. A witch's hut is a place, if you notice, it looks a lot like, if you know Baba Yaga, the witch who has a house that has bird leg stilts kind of a deal. The witch's hut will allow you to learn 1 new skill. If it offers a skill that you already have learned, then you're not going to learn it twice. You just are like, sorry, my bad. You know, I got nothing new to teach you. And if you already have 8 skills, if you're already full, like this hero, then she'll say, ha, and she'll screech at you and say, I got nothing new to teach someone so wise as you. We're not going to find out what it is until we step on it. This witch's hut. I approach the hut and observe a witch inside studying an ancient tome on scouting. An ancient and immortal witch living in the hut with bird's legs for stilts teaches you scouting for her own inscrutable purposes. So now I've got basic scouting. These are fun and potentially very good, these witches' huts, but sometimes you want to use your backup hero to see if they're going to try and teach you Eagle Eye or something garbage. Because if they're going to teach you garbage, you want to avoid it. Obviously. You may ask yourself, hey, Fix Fox, how did you run right into that castle? I'm just kind of reading the terrain. When I was right in here, I saw this sawmill. Generally, sawmills can be indicative of being close to castles because every faction needs wood and ore. Wood and ore. Because look at your buildings, they're going to cost, you know, wood and ore primarily, and then they may cost some extra special resources. So I saw the sawmill, I decided let's go left instead of right. Ultimately, a good decision. Let's fight this fight. I am running so low on troops. There's no guarantee I'm going to win this. The best thing I got going for me, though, is a very healthy spell book. I got plenty of spell points, so I'm going to do it, but I recognize that this may be a bad idea. I may lose a lot of troops. You know what? I think I can... I think I can do better. So I'm going to still fight this again. And I think I can do better because I'm going to use spells. They'll take out their biggest threats. I think the blind is a good choice on their part, unless... Yeah, their sorceress has 2 spell power, so their spells aren't going to hit very hard. Therefore, it's probably a good idea just to use some utility spells. Not a bad decision. It was a decision. The choice was made. They only have the moat and the main castle defense. They don't have the right turret. They don't have the left turret, and so their damage is significantly reduced. I don't think I'm going to lose a giant here. I think we're gonna pull this one out with very few problems. If I fly across, these ogre lords are going to give me grief, so I'm just going to play it safe and attack. Attack where it's easiest. I'm going to lightning bolt the ogres. I definitely would never lightning bolt dwarves because they have 25% magic resistance. That means that they will, number one, they'll take 25% less damage from spells, but also they have a 25% chance to completely ignore a spell, which it just ruins your day when you're like, oh, I'm going to disrupting ray these dwarves, and then it's like, oh, the spell didn't work, and then you're sad. You're like, why? And they're like, bro, I don't think I have to explain this to you. You just don't. You just don't get it. I am gonna try and magic arrow them. The dwarves resist the spell. I appreciate them doing me a favor and showing everybody how it works. Good job, dwarves. And now you're dead. Okay. Orange has been vanquished. So now we've just got me and yellow. And it looks like I've got the most towns, I've got the most castles, I got the most heroes, They have more wooden ore, but I got more gold in the treasury. Notice that more of this information has become available. Some of my hero stats have become available, and things like golden treasury and wooden ore is available because I've got multiple castles with multiple thieves guilds in them, and so therefore I'm getting more information. Oh, new town. So up here, and I'm going to have my hero go in and just rest so that she can replenish her spell points. New town. This is the barbarian town. I've said it before, I'll say it again. This game is beautiful. Look how beautiful this is. It's simple, but it's just so well done. Barbarians, again, they're an early game faction. Their troops are relatively cheap and easy to get. They have a hut where they get goblins, a stick hut where they'll get orcs, den where they'll get wolves, an adobe where they'll get the ogres and the ogre lords, a bridge where they can get trolls or war trolls, and then a pyramid, which I'm just going to buy right here, right now. So cool. Where they can pick up their 6th level unit, the Cyclops. Cyclopses, as you notice, cost 1 crystal. Okay, so they may be more expensive than bone dragons in that regard. But it's 750 gold. 750 gold for a level 6 unit. So what am I getting? What am I getting with my level 6 unit? Well, I'm getting 80 hit points. I'm getting a ground unit that is fast. Not very fast, but fast. 5 units of speed and does 12 to 24 damage. 12 to 24. 20 to 30, 12 to 24. You know, need I say more? You get these units a lot earlier, but at a very reduced effectiveness. Now, Cyclopses do have some special instances to them. They do have a 2-hex attack. They can, if enemies line up correctly, they can shoot or attack both of them at the same time, and they have a 20% chance to paralyze. It's a good ability. It just doesn't compare with other factions, of course. That being said, I'm going to resupply my army with whatever we have here. Holy cow, they just didn't have any money, so they couldn't buy stuff. I'm going to resupply with the 2 Cyclops just because they're fun to take by with me. And then I think that my best bet is actually to take 48 Orc Chieftains. These are shooters, and they will draw fire away from the Archmages. They will help me win some castle fights, things like that. Notice that the backgrounds are different from the wizarding units versus the barbarian units. This is what their portrait in the background looks like. And notice that my hero now does not have all these extra morale modifiers, like I don't have the all wizarding troops +1. I do right now because I just took them out of my army. I also have, I'm in a place with a tavern, so I got some morale that way, and I have basic leadership, but by adding these back, I lose the bonus of only having 1 type of troop in my army. It's worth it for 48 Orc Chieftains, and for the Cyclopses, I'm still plus morale by a lot. It'll be worth it. It'll be fine. And in fact, that's the best reason to take basic leadership and then eventually expert leadership, is so you can mix troops to your liking and make the strongest army possible. In this instance, we've got 1 more castle to go. We're going to knock them dead, and we're going to do a pincer attack. I got troops coming in from the south, and I got them coming in from the west. We are going to find this castle, and we're going to put an end to this first scenario. And Roland is going to be looking pretty. Okay. Lots of Vampire Lords. Vampire Lords are actually really tough. They've got a really cool special ability where they can drain life from enemies that they attack. They can pretty much go on infinitely. You can lose a Vampire Lord, and when the rest of his brethren in the stack attack, they can reanimate him. Yeah, pretty tough. Pretty tough. I'm not going to accept that. I really can't accept that loss. That's just too much. So they're fast. So speed 5. That's a speed 6, speed 4, speed 4, speed 5. So this stack is going to attack. Then it'll be my Cyclops' turns, and then the rest of their stacks will go. What's my best bet here? Stone Skin will help me lose less Archmages. A haste might make it so I can cover up the Archmages. I can speed up the rocks, and then they can make it so only one Vampire Lord can attack at once. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna probably lose a lot of orcs, but I'm gonna save more Archmages. So I'm gonna speed up the rocks, shoot this top stack that's gonna want to come and nibble on my guts. There you go. Oh, and there's no enemy retaliation with Vampire Lords. They've got a lot of bonuses. They're pretty cool units. Okay. Oh my gosh, they're everywhere. Alrighty. So, I think that this bottom unit is going to take care of themselves. Let's start taking care of some of these top stacks. I don't remember which unit I used with the Cyclopses, so I don't know if this stack has retaliation or not. I'll risk it. They did not have retaliation, so I picked it correctly. And now it's a new turn. And now I'm just going to give them the absolute riot act. I killed 8 vampires there. Oof. Good luck is always appreciated. I'm not going to kill all 6, so I will give them a shot. 1 Vampire Lord revived. They did enough damage that 1 Vampire Lord revived. 2 Cyclopses. I don't want to lose one if I can help it, so we're going to just kill this small stack. And then 25 hit points, 26 hit points left. Might as well try and kill as many as I can. There's 3 vampires left. I'm gonna zap that stack, kill it, see if I can pop them. I couldn't. Skip, skip, shoot, dead. I'm trying to get to their town, which I figure has got to be somewhere in this corner of the map before a new week, because a new week means more creatures, and then that's just more I gotta kill, and maybe that might be enough for them to win. It's worth 2. Oh shoot, I didn't mean to fight that. My brain auto-combated. I got 28 HP, so it's probably in my best interest to save magic for the final battle. And plus, this should be a pretty easy fight, so I need not worry too much. Okay. Aha! Alright, there she is. There she is. Day 7. And this works out great because I'm going to hit the new turn. It'll be day 1. And I go first. I go before the enemy. So, new week. There's all these new creatures, but ain't nobody going to buy them because we're fighting this fight right now. I'm not going to let them have more troops to try and defend. And a glorious victory. I'm not even going to fight the fight. I know that this should be the last. Unless there's another hero running around somewhere, this should be the end of scenario number 1. If there is one hero on the adventure map that I haven't killed yet, they will have 7 days to recapture some enemy town, one of my towns basically, or a town that's currently neutral. And if they can do that, then they can continue to play the game. But if you have no castles and only heroes, then after 7 days, all of your heroes on the adventure map will abandon you, and you'll lose the game that way. Otherwise, if you're, of course, wiped off the face of the map, you just lose. So let's see if there's anything else, any other heroes. Yellow's been vanquished. They had no more heroes on the map. I took their last town, and I win.
Well done.
Okay.
Our initial move.
And so this is going to start us up with scenario number 2. I'm going to pick this up next time. It makes the most sense to do each scenario one by one. Just so that way, I mean, number 1, if there's like audio problems or if I'm just too long-winded, that way you can do each scenario. You can view it better. It's easier to keep track of. And then you can pick up usually in a more bite-sized piece. This was still a long playthrough. The first scenario I figured was going to be long because I'm taking, as you can tell, a lot of time to explain a whole lot of stuff. It's going to pick up a lot from here on out. I expect a lot of these scenarios will take, anywhere from 20 to 45 minutes now, as opposed to like an hour and a half. But hey, them's the breaks. It's a game worth really investing in and going in depth on. There's enough nuance that I think it's interesting, and the commentary I don't think is wasted. If you have made it to this point in the video, please consider just watching the next video. I don't even care if you like or subscribe. That's up to you, man. What I really care about is, hey, hopefully this has been interesting. Hopefully the sound of my voice is not terribly grating, and you can just enjoy this journey along with me. I don't know if you can tell, I'm having tons of fun doing this. Let's keep this gravy train rolling. And that's going to start up with Roland's Campaign scenario number 2 for the next video. Hopefully I see you there. Fix Fox out.